health system. And in the leadoff spot, standing in for the left side, is Eddie Park, the center fielder. A lot of players returning from that College World Series team of a year ago as the first pitch is swung on by Park. It's a shallow fly ball to about medium deep center field that's caught by John Spikerman. It is wet. It's been drizzling. It rained sort of significantly 2.5 hours ago. The teams took batting practice in the indoor facility, didn't get outdoors. So it may be a little bit slick, and the wind is blowing out of the south. It is blowing heavily toward left field tonight.
And I think that's why you see the outfielders can get fooled on the swings. It's that kind of that time of day. And so like Spikerman actually broke back a step and then was able to come in and recover. Thought a big swing, but off the end of the bat.
So Kel Davis on the mound, a redshirt junior from Oklahoma City Westmore High School, transferred from Oklahoma State. 2-2, 5.59 ERA. It's been a mixed bag for him, would you say, this season, George?
Yeah,
some good, some bad.
Go 6, give you a good start. Go 4, not so good. And I think it's a matter too of commanding the fastball, getting ahead in counts. He's behind here 2-0. The stuff's there. I mean, it's 88-92 pretty consistently. Changeup has improved because of being a starter. He went to that third pitch to be able to throw it.
2-0 pitch hit hard on the ground past the diving third baseman Wallace Clark, and Tommy Troy reaches first on a one-out single in the first inning for the Cardinals.
I think you got to get out of your tendencies, and what I mean by that, 2-0 fastball every time. No, let's start throwing a slider, and he did there, and he hung it. It was up in the zone. He got base hit to left field, but it's a matter of making sure, because everybody's got these games on Synergy or on tape. They can watch them on ESPN Plus. They can replay them all the time. So as a coach, they're going through these tapes constantly, looking at things. How many times do you pick? What do you pick? Who picks? Who doesn't? Who fields the ball well off of the mound? Can we bunt on that guy? There's so many different things they look at.
One away, and Carter Graham is in, junior from Los Angeles, Chaminade College Prep High School, preseason All-American. He has gotten hot for this team. 1-0 the count. Graham, second team All-American last year, first team All-Pac-12. He batted .331, but got off to a slow start this year. First 8 games batted just .067, but he's at .308 for his last 13 for Coach David Esker and the Cardinals.
And why he's still hitting where he is. In his career, 24 home runs, 95 RBIs, he's hit 300. So, you know, they know it's there on the back of the bubblegum card. We just got to get it to come out during the regular season, and it's not going to get better sitting on the bench.
22 home runs a season ago. Pitch is a little bit up and in. David Esker talking about his team of a year ago. They really lost the spine of their defense. Those players, Brett Barrera, Brock Jones, they lost their catcher, shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder off that College World Series team of a year ago, but they have reloaded. Lost the bat as it sails into the back screen. That'll get your attention if you're sitting there in the first or second row.
Be nice and give the lady give her your bat.
That's not happening. These are college kids.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, fastball in on his hands, and he's like, oopsie. I better go get some more stickum. That didn't work out so well.
It's just humid, and it's been drizzling throughout the afternoon and early evening hours.
Humid but a little chilly. You got a sweatshirt on. I got one on.
It's not bad. You know, it's not as bad as it looks, I guess you would say. Big lead over there, and they nearly got Tommy Troy leaning. But he's back safely. He's 8 for 8 in the stolen base department. That leads the Cardinal.
Snap throw over. It's just a little bit of the tag. He got that hand under before getting tagged on the rear end. Safe.
Remember Sebastian Orduño, not regularly a first baseman over there on the bag. Part of the injury situation the Sooners have had. That swung on and missed. The throw sails out into center field. But Troy was unable to get up. He kind of slid past the bag, and he was more concerned with making sure he was touching second base. So he swipes his 9th base of the year.
And he got a jump start. It wasn't. Carmichael had no shot. I mean, he had a kind of a jump up and down go. He had momentum going into second base and well ahead of the throw. He's going to be safe either way.
So a runner in scoring position with a 2-2 count on Graham. Nice play by Carmichael. He sat out the Wichita State game midweek on Tuesday for the Sooners to Easton Carmichael, but what a year he's had so far.
Well, being a catcher, it involves so much into the game. A night off isn't so bad.
The 3-2, a flare out into shallow center field. Spikerman a long way back. It falls in front of him. But Tommy Troy, the runner, had to hold up to make sure that Spikerman didn't catch it. Carter Graham makes it back-to-back singles and runners at first and third for the Cardinal. Opportunity here for Stanford. Let's check in down on the field with Carly Murray, the third member of our crew. Hi, Carly.
Yeah, guys, that guy up to bat right now, Braden Montgomery's had a great start to his sophomore year. His teammates call him an alien because he's a two-way player. I mean, he can hit, he can pitch, he can do it all. He's actually one of the top prospects for the draft this year, so he's definitely the player to watch for the series.
Thank you, Carly, and a lot of scouts here. Braden Montgomery, sophomore from Madison, Mississippi, leads the Pac-12 in hitting. And as she said, we'll see him on the mound at some point this weekend as well. Opportunity to strike first here for Stanford. Montgomery, 7 home runs as well. This one will tail down the left field line deep into the Sooner bullpen.
The wind was basically going out. Now it's kind of cornered into that left field corner with the high winds. By the way, I just want to say, my granddaughter in Arkansas, Harper, is listening and said to tell Chad hi. And I said, okay, I'm going to say hi.
Well, hi, Harper. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Promise I will get Grandpa home safely tonight. So Montgomery, Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, freshman All-American last year. He's gotten hot, batting .412 in his last 5 games. It's been a menace in the Pac-12. Stanford's gotten off to a good Pac-12 start there, 7-2, including 3 home runs by Montgomery. One and two now. Davis 85 miles per hour with that.
That's the changeup that's gotten developed. And, you know, when you come out of the bullpen, as he did at Oklahoma State a lot of times, it's fastball. It's just fastball slider. Because you got 2 pitches to try to work your way through an inning. Very rarely do you get to expose a changeup. That's a pretty good one.
Skip Johnson said he's still good 2 times through the order. And as that other pitch starts to get better, that's when you can go that 3rd and even 4th time through a lineup. 1-2 to Montgomery. Fastball up and in. Opening day of Major League Baseball season. We've been distracted by following a lot of the results.
Couldn't even watch it. Don't get me started.
Oh, yeah. There are a few difficulties with getting your favorite team on television these days. But not if you're a Sooner or Cardinal fan tonight.
That's exactly right.
Or all weekend. That pitch is down in the turf. Carmichael's going to throw through to second base, but Carter Graham will reach it rather easily on that pitch in the turf. And now runners at second and third with a full count. He
blocked it really well. He jumped to try to find the baseball and kicked it with his right foot. That's when it shot away from him up the first baseline.
First inning difficulties for Cale Davis. And it's a walk that loads the bases as we check out Georgia's keys to this one. They are presented by Riverwind Casino, still the one. I think you've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but run through these, George.
Yeah, ranked from the team in town. A ranked team's in here. You do something to win 3 out of 4 of them. Get some national notice out of this when you have the opportunity. Davis tried to give a 6 and really catch the ball. They had a bad week of catching the baseball at Kansas State and at Wichita State. So let's catch the baseball. That's one thing Stanford does. They catch the ball. Very few errors. Their shortstop has 7. Everybody else just 1 in the starting lineup.
So with the bases loaded and 1 away, here is the catcher, Malcolm Moore. Freshman from Sacramento, California. He homered in his first collegiate at-bat. That's how you get off to a good start. 2 times Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of California. So it's Back-to-back singles by Troy and Graham. The walk to Montgomery. Base is full of Cardinal. John Brammer is our plate umpire, having a conversation with Malcolm Moore. Well hit, turns on this one deep to right field, and this one is gone. It's a grand slam by Malcolm Moore and a 4-0 start for the Stanford Cardinal in Norman this weekend. Malcolm Moore clubs his 6th home run. He's now driven in 22 on the year.
And he got a fastball up, and he got it in the inner half. Most left-handers that can drop the hammer, meaning the head of the bat through the zone, will drive it this far. I'm a little surprised this ball got out of the ballpark. I thought double originally because of the wind that it was going against, but he must have hit it very hard.
David Esker, talking about his team, said we are very reliant upon the home run. They've now hit 32 in 22 games. They are if you're looking at home runs that you have hit versus how many you've given, they're now plus 14 in the home run category. Wow. But this is what they did a year ago, slugging their way all the way to Omaha.
Well, not the type of half-inning kill Davis wanted to start this ball game out with. That's obvious.
Here's second baseman Drew Bowser.
And unfortunately, he had 2 balls that not hit hard at all. Had a ground ball hit to the left side, a blooper into center field, but the last big one was hit hard.
Bowser, 6'4", 230 pounds from Los Angeles. Big hack at that one, and he's out on strike. So a good bounce back there for Cale Davis. He records his first strikeout of the night.
Elevated fastball. We talked a lot about that. It's a very good pitch when you have them in a breaking ball thought process at the plate.
Base is empty, 2 gone for the left fielder Alberto Rios. Junior from Bellflower, California. Leads this team in runs batted in. He had an 11 RBI game this year, George.
That'll help the stats.
It will. That was against CSU Bakersfield.
That doesn't count.
Oh, it does, my friend. 1-1 the count. So how does Cale Davis bounce back? Good so far.
Well, it's got to have a reset. Just go in the dugout, hope your offense scores a couple, makes a new ball game out of it. You just don't want to be gone after the 2nd or 3rd inning. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. I know he got knocked around at Kansas State, was gone after, 4 innings? And that's not what he wants to happen here tonight.
It was really good in the Houston series.
Very.
6 innings, 1 run. 2-2 the count. Alberto Rios. Limited playing time his first couple of seasons as a Cardinal, but has really thrived this year. Batting .365, 3rd best on this team, and he's hit 5 home runs. .32 home runs for Stanford this year. They hit 118 last year. Wind is going to help keep this one in play. It does, and it's caught by Orduño from his spot at first base. Inning over. So Davis retires the final 2 men, but a couple of base hits, a walk, and a big blast by the catcher Malcolm Moore. A grand slam. And Stanford starts this one with a 4-0 lead. You're watching Sooner Baseball, presented by Riverwind Casino on Sooner Vision from ESPN+. Sooners playing catch-up as we hit the bottom of the 1st inning. Welcome back to L. Mitchell Park in Norman. Nick Dugan, right-hander, completing his warm-up tosses for the Stanford Cardinal. He does not have a decision yet. He is 0-0, but Stanford is 3-0 when he makes a start. It's because his longest outing is 4 innings this year against CSU Bakersfield.
So is it a good luck charm
apparently
for the freshman? Well, a high earned run average. He's given up a lot of hits and a lot of runs. He's a 6-foot freshman. Watching the warm-ups, because gaining information's tough on some of these guys. I never saw a ball above 88. I saw a really good changeup and a 12-6 curveball. To see what he fashions. He may be one of those guys that throw soft in warm-ups and all of a sudden show you 95. He did 89.
Anthony McKenzie leads things off for the Sooners. Sooner batting lineup presented by Norman Regional Health System. McKenzie, Rocco Garza, Gongora. Sooners do not have the services of Kendall Pettis tonight. He was ejected at the end of the Wichita State game for calling balls and strikes, and so he has to serve a 2-game suspension for that. So no KP for the Sooners this evening. Anthony McKenzie gotten off to a great start, batting .361, 22 runs scored. And if he gets on base, forget about it. He's stolen 15 of 16 for the Sooners. Bouncing ball that'll be misplayed a little bit out there by the second baseman Bowser, and the Sooners have a base runner to start.
You're kind. That was poorly played. Had plenty of time to get over to the baseball, went to one knee to backhand, and the ball just went between his legs. He only had to take 2 or 3 steps to get to that ball. I'm glad he booted it. But if you watch when this ball's hit, he doesn't have to get very far. And then he made a jab at it. It looked like the speed of the ball on the turf may have gotten to him. And I don't know at Stanford if they have turf or grass. I can't remember. It's been too long.
Klein Field at Sunken Diamond, the home of the Cardinals. Garza Gongora is in a stolen base for Anthony McKenzie. As we said, forget about it when he gets on. 16 of 17 in the stolen base department now for Anthony. Sooners have stolen 58 bags as a team.
Just kind of a nonchalant lead, like I'm not going anywhere, and then off to the races. I mean, to throw one hops, but the hand got in there above him.
And you can see the shortstop, Owen Cobb, he motioned as though he wanted the coaches to review this. This comebacker finds the runner hung up between second and third. McKenzie will be run back by the third baseman, Troy. Dugan, the pitcher, gets involved. No tag at second base, and making it on down to third base is going to be McKenzie.
They call McKenzie out for getting out of the base pass when he swung outside.
They did. So McKenzie has been called out, but good base running there by Rocco Garza Gongora. On a comebacker to the pitcher, he reaches second base.
So when he runs it back right there, when he spun out, he went too far out of the base pass. But as the umpire's behind him, he's making hand motions, yelling not very loud, and then Dugan couldn't get the ball out of his glove to attempt to throw to second.
So McKenzie gets cut down for being out of the baseline. And Garza Gongora reaches second base on a fielder's choice play. With one away, here's John Spikerman.
I'm not sure what David Esker wants to ask.
Maybe just what you were talking about, the communication, making sure that an out was called and clarified so that his guys knew that. But I don't know what recourse you would have. David Esker, the 6th season as the director of baseball at Stanford.
Won a lot of baseball games. Been a head coach for a while.
He was a player on their 1987 national title team. Mark Marquez, the longtime head coach, 41 years, and he played for him. And then was the head coach at Cal, but said it's a dream to be back at his alma mater. Skip Johnson over in the opposing dugout, taking the Sooners all the way to the College World Series Championship Series of a year ago. Feels like this team will bounce back, and he likes the way that they have this year. These young guys, great respect between these two coaching staffs.
I think the one thing young freshmen, and I went through it in every stage of my career as a freshman in college, as a young minor league player to a young big league player, you all go through it. You're so happy to have on that uniform, so happy to go 1 for 3, 2 for 3, and it literally takes that many young kids, and hopefully the fans understand what I'm saying here. It takes time for those kids to understand, you know, we just need to get a can of whoop out and go get them. You know, we're not getting beat tonight. You know, they get so caught up and worried about having their own success, and that's typical. But also as a team, playing as a team.
that Skip was saying, I feel like we've lost in every way imaginable so far this year. It's been
errors, walks, home runs, donk hits.
2-1 pitch, swings over the top of that one.
By the way, we do have our chief statistician with us tonight.
Who's that?
Bob Shirley.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, he's listening. You know, he corrects me on everything.
It's good to have former teammates out there watching the broadcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Spikerman missed multiple games this year. Came back in the TCU series after he missed a game in the TCU series. Just trying to get him going.
So, Chad, I'm going to ask a question. Maybe there's fans at home asking the same question. I'm going to wait until after this pitch. So he threw to second, so that doesn't count. He can do that again all he wants to.
But you just can't fake more than one time.
Right. If he fakes it once, that's one. If he fake again, he's the ball, and he gets to go to third.
It's a lot of rules now, George.
But right now, he can, as long as he steps off and throws, he can do that as many times as he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because when Skip said there's a lot of rules and I don't understand them, I knew I wasn't going to understand.
Spikerman lines this one toward the Sooner bullpen. Well, some of the results are in as far as pace of play. They are from Major League Baseball spring training games, which are short anyway, typically. 2 hours and 38 minutes was the average time. What do you think of that?
That's okay. I mean, the college games had the pitch clock for a while.
Spikerman gets called out on strikes for the second out.
And what hurts the pace of the game in a college game is the walks and the trips to the mound. You know, they make so many changes. Yeah, that appeared to be low, well caught behind home plate. Now he pulled that up into the strike zone.
Malcolm Moore's already having a good night behind the plate. Framed up that strike three and hit a grand slam in the last half inning for Stanford. Bryce Madron in. Lashes this one foul and out of play. Bryce, 33 walks, leads the country, has reached a base safely in 16 straight. Had a triple up at Wichita State the other night.
You keep waiting on the power to unleash is what you're waiting on. The level of pitching at junior college, not knocking it, they usually have one or two pretty good ones, and then it tapers down rather quickly.
Turns on this one, hits it high, fairly deep into the right field corner. That's Montgomery out there to chase it down, and the inning is over. Sooners get a base runner on an error, but leave him out there, and it's 4-0 Stanford as we head to the second in Norman. Welcome back to Norman. The Stanford Cardinal on the strength of a grand slam by catcher Malcolm Moore with a 4-0 lead as we head to the second inning. You can probably tell from the shots that you're getting, it's a little bit humid, a little drizzly tonight. Our game time weather is presented by the Trails Golf Club in Norman. 47 degrees. It feels a little bit warmer out there. Wind out of the southeast at 15 miles per hour, and I think it has stopped drizzling for now. But it's a little slick out there.
Well, the wind, you said 15 miles an hour. Looking at Old Glory, it looks a whole lot more than 15.
It does. It's supposed to be even windier tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Tomorrow and Saturday both, right?
The wind's supposed to be up in the 20s.
I know in Tulsa they said it could get to 35, 40 miles an hour on Saturday.
Well, we wouldn't want Stanford to fly in for spring break from the West Coast and not get to sample all of this Sooner State weather.
Absolutely.
Jake Sapien leads things off for Stanford, the number 8 batter. Sapien, sophomore from Atwater, California, didn't play as a freshman last year. Big hack at that fastball, and it's 2-2. You mentioned it at first inning for Cale Davis. 2 balls that were not hit all that hard, and then a walk. And by far the hardest hit ball was the one that left the yard. Mm-hmm. A little soft contact, a walk, and all of a sudden you're down 4-0. This is the lone game involving Big 12 conference teams tonight, starting this series on Thursday. It's interesting for Stanford. And David Esker was saying one of the reasons they went with the pitching rotation they did, and Nick Dugan, who would be their regular midweek guy, is it's like a midweek game for them. There's the second strikeout for Kip Davis, and he's retired 3 in a row. Stanford, though, because of finals, they played Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Pretty good high fastball in on the hands and above. Couldn't lay off of it and a strikeout. You know, and you think of Jake's hitting 389, so the kid can swing the bat a little bit.
Here's Owen Cobb. First pitch to Cobb. And Stanford playing that series Saturday, Sunday, and Monday against Utah. So really they had just one day off, and then they flew out here yesterday to start this series. And then they have a Thursday series starting next week. Sooners will jump back into Big 12 conference play. 1-1 on Owen Cobb. Junior from Seattle. He was drafted by the Padres in the 37th round out of high school, 2019. Bouncing ball foul past third.
A lot of really good players in California, high school players. But whenever you're getting a Stanford education, and they're like, you pay a lot of money to buy them out of that.
Two balls, 2 strikes. This is the 4th all-time meeting between these programs. Stanford leads 2-1 all-time. But the Sooner win was in 1994 on the way to their win at the College World Series. Beat Stanford in the postseason.
I knew it'd been a long time.
Last meeting was...
Well, travel logistics is a nightmare.
It is a challenge.
You're thinking about traveling all the way across the country to play here or go there.
You would just think as regularly as these teams are in the postseason, they would have met somewhere else.
Well, they try to now. That was a hanging curveball.
Hit in the air to left center field. Spikerman not going to be able to get there. As he and Rocco Garza-Gongora all the way to the warning track. Sprinting for third is Cobb. He dives in safely with a 1-out triple in the second.
Watch this pitch. Curveball coming out of the hand, but it never got down. The ball stayed right about chest high, read it off, and out of the hand of Cale Davis and drove it into left center field, 410 feet away. And Spikerman able to get a hold of it. They had a double cut relay going here, not in time. Wallace says, hold on to the baseball. We don't have a shot.
Third triple of the year for the shortstop, Owen Cobb. He has 3 of the 7 triples the Cardinal have hit this year. And here's the leadoff man, Park. Tailing fly ball that's pretty well hit to left. Back to the warning track goes Rocco Garza-Gongora, and it's a 2-run blast to the opposite field by the leadoff batter, Eddie Park. A 6-0 Stanford lead in the second.
Third home run for him. Doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He drives end runs. It's RBI number 25 and 26. They went back to the dugout. Coach, the wind doesn't blow like this at home. I like this wind blowing out.
So the triple by Cobb, the second home run of the game for the Cardinal, as Eddie Park hits that one.
When it left the bat, I thought it was going to get into the bullpen of the Sooners. I really did. From a left-hander fighting away from it. But that wind pushed that ball and carried that ball right out of the ballpark.
33 home runs for Stanford on the year. And here's Tommy Troy, who had a base hit to left center his first time. He scored on the home run by Moore.
Yeah, the dugout, they got a little bit of the stuff going on that a lot of teams do these days. Who is it does the sledgehammer? Was that West Virginia? Who was it? Virginia? Virginia Tech did the sledgehammer thing. Then the umpire made him stop. No more sledgehammer.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the umpire making him stop.
You're not pitching.
No, I'm not.
They just, and the thing you don't hear about or see is the chirping that may be coming out of their dugout, and then you're slamming it and you're chirping and you're saying things to the opposing pitcher and stuff. The umpire's like, all right, we're going to stop Sledgehammer, and y'all are going to be quiet because I'm not going to be in the middle of a fight out here.
Troy, it's a fly ball into right center field. That one will land. Big turn at first base. Tommy Troy is 2 for 2. That falls in between Spikerman and Madry. 3 hits in the inning for Stanford, 6 in the game already. And 1 out, and Carter Graham will be the batter.
Yeah, there is activity down in the Sooner bullpen. It's the left-hander. I can't see it. I think it's Carmichael. Appears to be. He's been stretched out numerous times.
It's a guy that Skip Johnson has very good confidence in out of the bullpen. Doesn't necessarily want to have to go to him in the second inning in the opener of a 4-game series. This one well hit into left center field. That will find the gap. Bounces off the H in Oklahoma. Ricochets all the way to Spikerman, the center fielder. Racing in comes Tommy Troy to score the 7th Stanford run on a double by Carter Graham, who is also 2 for 2.
17 RBIs now for Graham. Yeah, ball just got up a little bit in the zone. Seems like a lot of pitches from Cale Davis up in the zone today. More than normal. And a lot of balls hit into the gap.
And for Carter Graham, that is double number 5. As George said, RBI number 17 and a 7-0 Stanford lead. Braden Montgomery walked his first time. Cardinal brought their hitting sticks to town.
Might have to go in the locker room tonight and steal all their bats. Just kidding. It's something Chad would do. I wouldn't do that. Didn't expect this though. 7-0 with 1 out in the second in a 3-0 count. That leash is getting very short as far as Cale Davis and Skip, I think, are concerned.
Strike 1 to Montgomery. Stanford batting .308 as a team. They average 8.5 runs per game. And we told you about the home run numbers, already 33 on the season. And there's ball 4 to Braden Montgomery. Walked his first time up. He walks here. And there are runners at first and second for the man who hit the grand slam in the first inning, Malcolm Moore. But the Sooners may be headed to the bullpen. And a short night for Cale Davis. Skip Johnson will turn to the left-hander summoned from the bullpen. Braden Carmichael, trusted lefty, out of the pen to try to get the final 2 outs in the second. Call to the bullpen coming early in the second inning for Skip Johnson and the Sooners. They go to the senior left-hander Braden Carmichael. Just an inning and a third for Cale Davis so far. He's responsible for the 7 Stanford runs. But George, what do the Sooners need out of Braden Carmichael here?
Just got to tap the brakes on Stanford. Try to give me at least 3 or 4 innings out of this thing so we don't blow out the bullpen first game in a 4-game set. That's the biggest thing he could do right now.
So Braden Carmichael inherits the 2 base runners out there, Carter Graham and Braden Montgomery. And Carly has more on Braden Carmichael.
Yeah, guys, Braden and Easton are brothers. This is the first time they've ever played on the same team. It's a really special moment for their family, so they're trying to soak it all in, and they're happy that they get to go to one stadium every weekend.
Yeah, you don't have to divide and conquer with mom and dad. Thank you, Carly. We believe were the first brothers to start a game as the Battery earlier this year. I believe that was the Wichita State game, George. The first Wichita State game.
Brothers in Oklahoma history?
University of Oklahoma,
right.
Sooner baseball history.
Okay.
You being the historian.
No, I'll ask Bob. Bob, look it up.
Braden Carmichael's very trusted out of that bullpen. In fact, you have Skip Johnson, who you trust most. He's at the top of the list as Carter Graham swipes third base, and it's runners at the corners now. Eighth appearance for Braden Carmichael. Did make a couple of starts early in the year, but he's been out of the bullpen his last 7 appearances. Malcolm Moore homered, hit the grand slam to start the Stanford scoring in the first. He is a .333 hitter for the year with 6 home runs now. That'll send the count to 2-2. Oklahoma bullpen should get Jet Lotus back. He hasn't pitched since a couple of weeks ago, but one of those who would be available if needed. Off the end of the bat, a fly ball, very shallow center field. Spikerman ranges in. He makes the catch. Graham will tag at third and slide across with the 8th Stanford run on a sacrifice fly by Malcolm Moore, who has now driven in 5 runs.
As long as he doesn't pull a Rios, I'm okay. Driving 11.
With 2 outs, Drew Bowser will be the batter as Graham scores for the 2nd time tonight. Drew Bowser struck out his first time against Cale Davis. It's a line drive down the left field line. That one bounces off the warning track, gathered by Rocco Garza-Gongora, and it'll be a standing double for Bowser, the 5th hit of the inning for Stanford. And it chases Montgomery all the way around to third base.
But the hitting socks got put on today. I mean, that's all you can say. No matter where they're throwing it, down, up, out, in, over the plate, on the back foot, they seem to have taken very solid contact. 8 runs on 8 hits for the Cardinal.
The 9th batter of the inning is Alberto Rios, who hit a pop-up in foul ground to the first baseman Sebastian Orduño. He bounces this one back up the middle. That will score Montgomery. Bowser will also come in to score. It's a 2-run single for Alberto Rios and a 10-0 Stanford lead in the 2nd.
Wow. One more, just ground ball, find it. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't want to say laughable, but it almost seems that way, you know? Because everything they're touching is going in for a base hit. A couple of RBIs, 27 for Rios.
Jake Sapien, the batter, struck out his first time. That was to start this inning. And then the damage began to unfold. That's 5 hits and now 6 runs here in the 2nd inning for Stanford. 2-0 is popped up foul into the evening sky and onto the concourse. Sapien making his 6th start of the year. Batting .368. That one stays a bit too tall, and it's 3-1. So the book is closed on the Sooner starter Cale Davis. He's responsible for 9 of the 10 runs. Carmichael assumes 1 of them. And Sapien fouls this one up third base way. It's a Stanford team rounding into form. There's ball 4 to Sapien.
All right, scorecard just changed.
It did.
Yeah, have to start marking and adding.
It'll bring Owen Cobb to the plate. He doubled and scored earlier this inning. Cobb scored on the home run by Eddie Park, who moves into the on-deck circle. That's smashed back up the middle by Cobb. Alberto Rios is around third, and it's 11-0 Stanford now. Sapien stops at second on the RBI single by Owen Cobb.
Well, they've got 11 on the board. 9 have been charged to Davis. 2 will be charged to Carmichael so far. Davis gave up 7 hits. Carmichael has given up 4 since he entered the ballgame with a walk.
And 7 runs here in the inning on 6 Stanford hits. Back to the top of the order for Eddie Park, who hit a 2-run home run earlier this inning. Park is also flied out to center field. Breaking ball, the catch is the outside corner. Two and one on Park. Park out of San Jose, California. 12 multi-hit games this year. He caught fire in the postseason. Batted .538 in the postseason. Stanford hosted a regional. Park is now 12 out of his last 23 at the plate and has driven in 9 runs over that span. Second baseman Nicholas plays it over to first, and the inning is over. But for Stanford, they get 7 runs on 6 hits and lead 11-0, headed to the home half of the second. Nothing Stanford. We head to the home half of the second inning. Sooners up for their second trip to the plate. Trying to travel the long road back here tonight in the opener of this 4-game series with number 7 Stanford. Easton Carmichael leads things off. Nick Dugan's been over in that Stanford dugout for a while.
You know, if I'm the umpire right now, I get a really big strike zone.
What a freshman year Easton Carmichael is having.
What a great surprise. You know, you talked to him in the fall, and they were a little concerned about his catching. Thought he was going to hit, and this is not the OU coaching staff. Because I always check with scouts all the time. Talk to the scouts a lot about the players. Because they come in here when they scrimmage on the weekends every day, and then they play the World Series. They're here for every game and all that. They thought he could really hit. What has surprised everybody he has caught. You think last year Jimmy Crooks caught about every game.
Yeah.
You know, and Hudson Polk left and went to Arkansas. He's catching a couple of nights a week, but he's hitting under 100 down there right now.
And so the Sooners have had Diego Muñiz do some catching this year as Carmichael grounds one right at the second baseman, Bowser, for the first out. The other night, Mason Strong got into the game when Carmichael was out. Muñiz got hurt making a throw. And by the way, good news on Muñiz has dislocated a finger, but it's okay. Tape it up, and he is back in there. Diego's the DH tonight. In fact, he's batting ninth. Here's Sebastian Orduño. Eleventh start for Sebastian Orduño. Been over there at first base recently, and that one came in and hit him. So the Sooners have their second base runner of the game. Bring in Jackson Nicholas. He could get things pointed in the right direction quickly. 4 home runs for Jackson in his sophomore year. He was on the Big 12 freshman team of a year ago. Had a home run against Wichita State Tuesday night. Coming in on the 0-1. You think about that freshman year, 48 runs that he scored. And he tied for second among freshmen in Oklahoma history in home runs and runs scored. Think about that. Oklahoma history. Second most for any freshman. One ball and one strike.
And was hurt part of the time.
Yeah.
Think what had happened if he'd have been healthy at the start of the year.
Your eyes do not deceive you, and it's not the camera. It is a little hazy, almost foggy here at the ballpark, would you say, George? As
very.
Nicholas hits a fly ball that tails toward the center fielder. Eddie Park puts that one away. 2 down. And Wallace Clark will be the batter. Wallace is one of the Sooners that's been on the injured list, and that's been a, unfortunately, big storyline for Oklahoma. Got all these guys. Wallace Clark, John Spikerman has missed some time. And right now, the big one they're dealing with is Dakota Harris, George.
It's a huge loss for the ball club. I mean, it really is. The RBIs, the home runs, the defense, the captain type attitude at shortstop.
It's caused so many things to shift. And Dakota Harris was batting .386. 4th best in the Big 12. He was just coming off being awarded the Big 12 Freshman of the Week when he went down with that oblique. And they'll continue to have him looked at. But the Sooners haven't won a game since he went out of the lineup. So he's playing short. That means McKenzie has to shift over, play short. Then you got somebody else playing first base.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is a guy, quite honestly, we'd like to see Wallace he started off with a bang, hitting over 500 the first 5 or 6 ball games, and then had a little tailspin, then got hurt, came back playing with it.
3 balls and a strike to Wallace.
A great eye, a guy that walks a lot, does a very good job of that. Working counts, deeper into the counts.
And as you said, he's had to miss 6 games this year himself.
Yeah, an on-base percentage of over 400, 417.
And there's ball 4, so the Sooners with a little life in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Orduño hit by pitch, and Clark with a 2-out walk to give Diego Muñiz a chance. Eighth start for Diego. He's driven in 3 runs. Utility player deluxe. Gonna have time called a little visit from out of the Stanford dugout.
This is one of those, you did look at the board and see an 11-0 lead. You've hit a guy, you've walked a guy. They do not have a hit yet. So you're basically challenging him to throw the ball over the plate. Is what you're doing as a pitching coach. Because, you know, when you look at his numbers on the year, what's the one big thing that jumps out at you? 15 in the 3rd innings, he's walked 12. And this is a stat I look at quite frequently. How many men got on base, and out of how many got on base, how many scored through a hit and a walk? Below 50% is pretty good.
So the conversation is over with. And Dugan will go back to work. George, here's one for you. The run support that Nick Dugan has been given this year, coming into this game, averaged 20 runs per game. Was how many that Nick Dugan was getting in run support. 20 runs per game. Because Stanford has put up such large numbers. They scored 24 against Cal State Bakersfield, 21 against Cal State Fullerton. Diego Muñiz up the middle with a base hit. Sooners plate their first run as Sebastian Orduño scores from second base, and it's 11-1 now.
First hit, 4th RBI of the year for Muñiz, and it's not looking too good, but it's looking better than it did.
Just a little bit of life. A hit by pitch, a walk, and a base hit. The Sooners tally for the first time, and they get back to the top of the lineup now for McKenzie. Fourth RBI for Diego this year. McKenzie was safe on an error and stole second base back in the first.
Not trying to figure out kind of what this catcher's thinking about going on here. Maybe the Sooners going to get greedy and try to steal a base here. It's hard. Every time I look down and see 20 in the on-deck circle, I think of Graham every time.
Yeah, he was a good one. Hard hit ground ball at the second baseman, Bowser. And the inning is over, but the Sooners get on the board. RBI single by Diego Muñiz. 11-1 Stanford headed to the 3rd. Welcome back to Elldale Mitchell Park in Norman. Sooners have gotten on the board, but trail Stanford 11-1. And Skip Johnson goes to the bullpen for the 2nd time tonight for the lanky right-hander, Peyton Olenek, who will try to stem the tide and stifle a Stanford offense that's already produced 11 runs on 10 hits, George.
Well, he's been in only one ball game all year long. He's got a walk, no hits, no strikeouts. So this is one of the ball games. As a youngster, go get him. See what you can do. It's an 11-1 game, no pressure, nothing tight. Just throw strikes and work ahead and try to work yourself through this.
Only appearance for him this year was, as George said, 1 inning at Houston back on March the 10th. He gave up a walk, but did not give up a hit, and got out without giving up a run.
And a lot of people have had this question asked, because, you know, a lot of old school ball players wonder why people are looking in the card in their back pocket. Well, it's not actually a card, it's a tablet. And it says what Skip's got a iPad down there, and he punches FB1. You know, FB out, FB in. So the pitcher's looking, and it's like a little thing pops up on that silver deal that they're pulling out of their pockets and tells them what pitch to throw. He verbally says it to Carmichael in an earpiece behind home plate. Makes it a little complicated for me.
And there are various systems that they have now for relaying this in.
Well, they got the wrist thing, where they can look at the wrist and they give the sign.
Some guys aren't comfortable, pitchers pulling that tablet out of their pocket. We've seen some of that as well.
How about just do that? Just give signs like they used to.
Well,
It'd be too easy.
Olenek, 6'9", out of Cedar Lake, Indiana. Transferred in from Triton College. 2-2 pitches. Swatted foul by Tommy Troy. And that was coming down hard. And avoided
and again, with the wind out of the south is strong, you never know. One ball gets up into the air. I've seen them. We've seen them all the way into the stands, and they blow back out 15 feet.
Once it gets above the awning of the stadium, there's no telling where it's going. Troy is 2 for 2 with 2 singles and 2 runs scored. And that's a foul tip hung onto by Easton Carmichael. So the first batter faced by Peyton Olenek is a strikeout.
Just high, low 3/4, intimidating delivery, a lot of movement. Just went after it.
There's a lot of potential in Olenek. He faces Carter Graham, who's 2 for 2 with a single, a double, and 2 runs scored. First pitch swinging wind's going to blow this one almost into fair territory, and a sliding catch nearly made by the first baseman, Sebastian Orduño. Will land foul. Carter Graham will come back and do it all over again. He had an RBI double back in the second inning. And he scored on the grand slam hit by Malcolm Moore in the first. So he's been right in the middle of the offensive attack by Stanford tonight.
Got to get a little bigger. Strike zone. Not the break on the slider, the strike zone. It's 11-1. I know, you're going to say integrity of the game, right?
No, I'm going to agree with you.
Don't have to put it in the shoebox to get called a strike.
I'm not sure either side agreed with either of the last 2 calls.
No.
1-2 it is to Carter Graham.
Guys this size, it's so hard. The long legs, long arms, get it all coordinated, connected together.
Slash foul.
Got a pretty nice short arm action coming off the backside.
'79 runs driven in and 22 home runs for Carter Graham last year. Count is even. And it will stay in 2-2. Sooner starter Kel Davis lasted an inning and a third tonight. Gave way to Braden Carmichael, who got the final 2 outs in the second inning. And now Peyton Olenek taking over to start the third. Stanford has hit 2 home runs. Grand slam by Malcolm Moore. And a 2-run home run by Eddie Park.
thing I've noticed about Stanford hitters more than anything else, they are really, really, really disciplined. They don't chase much. I've seen two guys chase the high fastball. I haven't seen them chase the breaking ball down.
And there's ball 4. Carter Graham with a 1-out walk. Third walk that Sooner pitching, begging pardon, the fourth walk issued by Sooner pitching so far tonight. Braden Montgomery, who has drawn 2 walks, will be the batter. He scored twice. Wind's going to help push this one foul. Up onto the hill. Youngster scrambling for it. It is spring break for Stanford. They had finals week last week, spring break this week.
Are we going to the beach, Coach? No, we're going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We're going to go play baseball. And like, I think Frank Gaines said, somebody said it's been scheduled for a couple of years. It wasn't like this winter they picked up the phone and said, hey, Stanford, do you want to come to Oklahoma?
Right. It's not as though Stanford was aware that Oklahoma lost like 15 guys to the draft, most of any team in the country.
And by the way, Jake Bennett texted me today. He is going to be the opening day starter for Fredericksburg in the Washington organization. That is low A. And he'll get to pay get the opening nod next Friday.
The Sooner team, Jake Bennett, second round. Cade Horton, 7th overall to the Cubs. Trevin Michael, who became such a good closer. David Sandlin, Martinez, Ramos, Jarrett Godman. I mean, half your pitching staff. And then, as you were talking about, Peyton Graham, second round to the Tigers. Blake Robertson, Tanner Treadaway, Jimmy Crooks. All of those guys got drafted. 11 Sooners drafted, most of any school last year. And there will be 3 Sooners on opening day rosters today.
Yeah. And I spoke with Mug Brewer, who's the low A pitching coach for the Colorado Rockies, where Ramos is, and I said he had been up to 101 miles an hour and was throwing strikes. It's a dangerous combination.
6 Stanford former Cardinal, on big league rosters as of today. Tommy Edman with the Cardinals. Nico Horner with the Cubs. They got a win earlier.
Did A.J. Hinch go to Stanford?
He did. A.J. Hinch is from, just down the road in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Stanford alum. Full count on Montgomery. Wind's going to play havoc with this one and blow it out toward the warning track. Back is Rocco Garza-Gongora, and this one is gone. It's the 3rd home run of the game for Stanford. Braden Montgomery had 2 walks earlier in the night, but he blasts one out of here to left, and it's 13-1 Cardinal.
Yeah, it's just, again, the left-hander with the power, and he got this elevated into the wind to left field, and after that happened, it was pretty much see you later. It just floated back. Rocco floated all the way to the wall. You can see he takes back on it, not thinking it's going to get out of the yard, and then this wall scrapes its way out of here.
Towering fly ball hit there by Montgomery. That is his 8th home run of the year. He has driven in 25. And now 34 home runs for Stanford as a team. And Malcolm Moore, who blasted a grand slam in the first, is back up there. He's also driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. So 5 runs batted in for Malcolm Moore. So you watch how a young pitcher responds to that. Peyton Olenek. One and 2 on Malcolm Moore. Bouncing ball toward Nicholas. 2 gone in the 3rd. All kinds of activity around us, George. There's an NCAA women's gymnastics regional going on next door at the Lloyd Noble Center. The defending national champion Sooners there.
So where's the national championship going to be for the gymnastics?
That is in Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth?
Yes.
At which campus?
It is at Dickies Arena.
Oh, big time.
Hosted by Texas Women's University down here. Any other questions? You didn't think I knew the answer to that, did you?
I did. I'll come up with another one.
I know you will.
Just give me a second.
You're good at it. Drew Bowser doubled and scored his last time up there. Bases empty and 2 gone. Also this weekend, you have the Red River rivalry of softball, Oklahoma and Texas. They're playing game 1 at the Hall of Fame complex in Oklahoma City tomorrow. 8,000 to 9,000 fans expected. And then they'll play Saturday and Sunday at Marita Hines Field just down the street from us. Two balls and a strike to Bowser.
Well, it's really, I think you got a little mist running here. It's not a rain. It doesn't feel like a rain, but a heavy mist. Which is, wow. Wow. Okay.
Well, there's ball 4. So Bowser to first, second walk of the inning, and 5th issued by Sooner pitching so far. And Alberto Rios will be the batter. Rios had a 2-run base hit his last time. We look again at that pitch. And
how many pitches have the Sooners thrown in this game so far?
after that one, which was bounced foul, 104
in the by the third inning. Ooh. Well, maybe one of those games all the pitchers' moms will be mad because they're all going to get to play.
And you hate that it's the opening game of 4 for the weekend.
You're hoping one of these guys just eats up some innings.
Yeah, you got to have it at this point.
So you don't blow everybody up tonight just trying to get through 9 innings.
0-2 on Alberto Rios.
But it happens to the best. DeGrom gave up 5 today, a home run. He gave up 6 hits or 4 hits. One of them a home run. He struck out 7. Only went 3 in the third innings. But Texas won.
Count will stay 0-2 on Rios. Well hit to straightaway center. Spikerman initially comes out, now in, and that ball falls in front of him. They will give the stop sign at third base to Bowser. And Rio stops at second with a double. Seen that a couple of times out there.
Let's see if they give him a double or an error on Spikerman. Yes, it appears. Look at this one more time. I mean, he broke back on the ball, and then he came in on the ball. And ball just hit at his feet.
It is a challenge to see out there that far away from the plate.
Appears it was given a base hit.
It is the 12th for the Cardinal tonight. And here's Jake Sapien, who is without a hit. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout.
It's about time to have the guest announcer, isn't it?
What are you saying?
Pick one out of the stands.
I don't think so.
We used to do that in Colorado. Didn't work out well one night.
How did that typically go?
It didn't go well one night.
So they had to stop it.
Turney's mic drop. He was not a happy Rocky fan that night.
So would they replace you for a couple of innings?
I just let him sit down there for an inning, and they won some contest. It was not good.
They do that with the public address announcer.
Uh-huh.
There's a called strike 3 on Sapien, and the inning is over. Stanford gets a 2-run Braden Montgomery home run to lead 13-1, headed to the bottom of the third. 13-1 Cardinal on top, and Nick Dugan back out to the mound. He will face Rocco Garza-Gongora, John Spikerman, Bryce Madron in the Sooner half of the third. Stanford has tallied 4 times in the first, 7 in the second, and 2 in the top half of this third inning. Two 2-0 to Rocco. Batting .338, making his 21st start. 3 home runs and 14 runs driven in. And a 3-0 start. Nick Dugan's numbers: 2 innings. He's given a hit and a run, a walk and a hit batsman. Bouncing ball right at Bowser. 1 away in the Sooner third. These 2 teams each making the trek to Omaha last year. For Stanford, back-to-back appearances. They have 18 total trips to Omaha, 37 regionals. Sooners winning the Big 12 tournament last year, their first since 2013. John Spikerman struck out looking against Dugan in the first. Driven into the gap in left center field by Spikerman. That bounds all the way off the wall. Spikerman can really run. Makes it easily to second base with a 1-out double. Second Sooner hit of the night. And their first extra base knock. For Spikerman, it is double number 8 on the season. He gets Bryce Madron to the plate. Madron flied out to right his first time. And that clipped him. So a Sooner threat brews in the third now. Spikerman a double, Madron hit by pitch. And Carmichael will get a crack. Just got to chip away if you're the Sooners.
It's a lot to chip on. But a couple swings, big swings to the back, get in that position.
Easton Carmichael's numbers: batting .348. He's hit 3 home runs. He guides this one out toward left field and caught down around the shins by Rios. Runners will have to stay put. So 2 gone in the Sooner third. And Sebastian Orduño will be the batter. I mean, as an outfielder, you're 350 feet away from home plate trying to see through this mist, fog, haze, whatever you want to call it.
Good part about it, the lights are fairly high here, so that, you can see the ball, but you can't pay attention. You can't not pay attention. Blink your eyes or something, it's going to get you.
Yeah, and then you got that wind blowing in every which direction.
And mist.
Big hack by Sebastian, and it's 1-1.
See, I watched him, and it looks like his best pitch is his changeup. His fastball's not overpowering. It doesn't sink. It doesn't cut. It's 88, 89 miles an hour. It doesn't have any movement, but he's got a really, really good changeup. He sells it with a good delivery.
Orduño hits a tailing flare that lands in left center field. Spikerman will score from second base. Orduño sliding into second. He is out, but the run will count. It is the second of the night for the Sooners. An RBI single by Sebastian Orduño. 13-2 Stanford, moving to the fourth. Fourth inning rolls in, and we will see the fourth Sooner pitcher of the night. It'll be the right-hander Colton Sunloff, who has one of the more unique deliveries and arm actions you will see in college baseball. He's on for just his third appearance of the year, and his first since March the 7th against UNLV.
Battled some injuries, now he's back. Low three-quarter, quick, snappy head, snappy arm, snappy front side, snappy front leg, a lot of deception. And with his delivery, you expect the ball to be much harder. And in reality, it's been 87, 88, 89 miles an hour, but there's so much deception and command with his slider that the fastball eats you up sometimes.
Sunloff, freshman from Utah, Utah Stansbury High School, 6'5", 200 pounds. And you see the Cardinals set to send 9, 1, and 2 to the plate. Cobb, Park, and Tommy Troy. Stanford has been able to score at least 2 runs in each of the first 3 innings, and they got 7 in the second. Owen Cobb's been right in the middle of it. Doubled and scored in the second, and then had a base hit as well in the second. 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. One and one now. A shot back up the middle into center field. And the third hit for Owen Cobb. He will try to stretch it into 2, and he'll make it easily sliding.
Slight bobble in the outfield by Spikerman. And he just never stopped when he rounded. He just took off. We'll see if they gave him a double or a single. But as the ball got to Spikerman, it bounced a little bit out of his glove. He had to pick it up and fire it in. Great hustle.
So a triple, a single, and a double tonight for Owen Cobb. And we're only in the 4th inning. And Eddie Park, the center fielder, will be the batter. He hit a 2-run home run
so are you
in
saying
the second.
He's got a lot of shots of having a cycle?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yes, possibly.
So why is it called a cycle? I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't either.
Parker, you know?
I assumed if you would ask, you would know the answer.
He doesn't know either. My son Parker's joined us here in the booth watching it. This high school team's playing over Noble. They were able to win today 9-8 over Choctaw in a home run fest, in a rain fest, in a lightning fest.
Yeah, they had everything just south of here.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, no. Well, I guess they had lightning here while they were doing pregame and had to clear the field.
Teams took indoor batting practice today. Oh, 0-1 on Eddie Park. ball and 2 strikes. How do you arrive at this delivery, do you think, if you are
sometimes this is probably something he developed, I would say, when he was little. Freshman, sophomore, junior year in high school. And somebody worked with him. He could, because of the low 3/4, softly hit.
Kenzie
would get him.
And a strike. And Eddie Park, the leadoff man, can scoot. But McKenzie's able to send him back to the dugout.
Well, it jammed him with the pitch. So it's not hit hard, hit the mound. It's going to pop up to him over the bag. And then the snap throw, and that was quick.
Cobb moves down the line to third base. And with 1 away, here's Tommy Troy, who's 2 for 3. Hard hit ball, backhanded by McKenzie this time. He'll get the out at first base. A run will score. It's 14-2. An RBI ground out for Tommy Troy that plates Owen Cobb.
Said that should be a half an RBI. I'll explain my thought here in a minute.
All right.
One hopper right at him. McKenzie's able to come up, throw, get the runner first. Because the previous guy moved him to third, or he wouldn't have had the RBI. So they should split it half.
What does it matter how he got to third base? I mean, you drove
he moved
him in.
over, though. If he doesn't, if on a ball hit like that, he's still stuck at second.
Well, I could say that on a lot of occasions.
So it's a half. See, it's a half.
It's a hole. And here's Carter Graham, who is 2 for 3. He scored 3 times.
Got to stand up and look down here and see how many scouts have hung in.
They got to stay for a while. I mean, the boss may be watching. See, I didn't see you at that game.
Well, I was down the left field line. I was over having some roast beef or some barbecue down the line.
Carter Graham had an RBI double in the 7-run second inning for Stanford. 2-1 on him here. High chopper bounding out to Nicholas. Innings over. Stanford getting a run. And it's 14-2. Stanford as we head to the last of the 4th in Norman. 4th inning on what has turned into a bit of a foggy night at L. Dale Mitchell Park. Sooners coming to the plate, trailing Stanford 14-2. This is the opener of a 4-game series between these two College World Series participants of a season ago. With George Frazier, I'm Chad McKee. Oklahoma coming to the plate here for the 4th time. Jackson Nicholas, Wallace Clark, and Diego Munoz, scheduled hitters against Nick Dugan. You think of Nick Dugan so far, George. You're really impressed by his changeup most of all?
Yeah, changeup's pretty good. Fastball velocity's nothing to get real excited about. 86, 88 miles an hour, but it doesn't have movement. It doesn't have a sink or cut to it. And the velocity doesn't bother me. It's just no movement. But the changeup makes his fastball play like 100.
Wynn's got this fly ball to left. Rios tracks it down over near the foul line to retire Jackson Nicholas for the first out in the 4th.
They recognize that changeup being so good that they is late on the fastball line. Wallace Clark walked in his first at bat. Got behind 0-1 and was able to maneuver himself to first base.
Switch hitting Sooner third baseman.
Played for Parker in high school. Won a state championship. Wallace won a couple in football. Won one in baseball.
Really key ingredient last year to the Sooner run to Omaha, solidifying third base.
Defensively, I think he made 4 errors in the last 57 games he played in. And that's pretty incredible to play at this level as a freshman. Got 3 errors so far on the year here, so far. 2 of them on throwing errors.
lashes this one down the left field line. It is a fair ball. It bounces up and over the wall and out of the park. And so Wallace Clark pounds a double with one away. Bounces out of here to left field.
Only thing is Wallace I'd like to see, because I've seen it, I witnessed it, and I know it's there. The power, more power is there. He shows a little bit here. The wind's going to take this. But it was slashed right down the left field line, fair by a couple of feet. You take it, the ball bounced out of the ballpark. I've seen his power and how aggressive he can be. That's where I'd like to see him get to.
Second Sooner double of the night and their fourth hit. Here's Diego Muñoz, who drove in Oklahoma's run in the second with an RBI single that plated Orduño. Two and 0 to Diego. Showing no ill effects after that dislocated finger back on Tuesday night in Wichita. Call him a utility guy. The super utility guy would be a guy who could pitch as well. Not that I would count that out for Diego.
A utility guy plays one or two positions in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Super guy plays everywhere. He played left, right, second, short, third, and catch.
What about
and
pitch?
could probably pitch if we ask him.
I think Diego could do all of that. Hits this one high, fairly deep to left field. Rios is back to the warning track. He circles it, reaches up, and this one is gone. It's out of here. Diego Muñoz has now driven in 3 runs tonight. He blasts a 2-run shot to left as the Sooners try to get back into this one. Hard to tell with Rios reaching up, and finally we got the indication from Brandon Meisen, the third base umpire, that it was indeed out of here.
Another hanging breaking ball. 2 have been hit out like this. One by Stanford, now one by the Sooners. On a hanging breaking ball very high, and the ball just carries and carries and carries. He thought he had this ball. At the last second went out.
First home run of the year for Diego. He has now driven in 3 runs tonight, equaling his total of the year prior to this.
You know, and if you're in the Sooner dugout right now, you just scored 4, 2 this inning, the previous innings 2. Do you say to each other, why not us?
Absolutely.
You know, let's just swing the bat. Why not us?
Get back to the top of the order here for McKenzie.
But you got to shut down the Cardinal. You can't allow them to go back in the top half of the 5th inning and put another one on the board. They've scored every inning. 4, 7, 2, and 1.
McKenzie 0 for 2. Was safe on an error back in the first.
You said something about run rule that Dugan has. How many runs do they score for him?
Average 20 runs of support.
A game?
Yeah. That's his average run support.
20?
They've scored.
And he's 0-0 with a 9 ERA?
They have a no
well,
decision.
Well, he ought to quit.
Now, I don't know how you register exactly run support. You
20
pitch.
Runs?
Yeah.
Wow. I'd go left-handed. Try something to stay in the game, get a W. No wonder the team's 3-0 when he pitches. And I guarantee you, you know, they're trying to let him get 5 and get the win.
Sure.
And they get a little taste, a good taste in his mouth. He's a freshman. Get a win. Feel good about it.
They scored 21 in one game, 24 in another.
You know what, let me tell you what. And he's 0-0. But the team's 3-0. He spit the hook a lot.
That one is dropped at first base. The backhanded try by Graham. It will be an error that allows McKenzie to reach safely.
Well, this is what you don't want if you're the Cardinal. You do not want to get sloppy.
It is the second error of the night committed by Stanford. 23rd of the year.
I mean, just a ho-hum play at second base. Ball's hit right to you. All you got to do is just gather your feet underneath of you and make the play and throw over. And he just threw a slider to first.
So McKenzie safe. Here's Rocco Garza-Gongora. He's 0 for 2 is Rocco. Garza Gongora is batting at now .329 for the year. It's been these newcomers, George, guys new to the Sooner lineup, to the program, Rocco and Easton Carmichael. Although he is not in there tonight, we talked earlier, you throw in McKenzie and Dakota Harris.
It hurts not having Harris. Defensively, offensively, leadership, everything. Of course, Kendall Pettis not in that dugout tonight because of getting tossed over in Wichita. You got to sit one. Sit two, sorry. He must have been a really bad boy.
There's that changeup. And 1-2 on Rocco Garza Gongora.
When a guy doesn't throw it particularly hard, but hard enough, you've got to have something to go along with that to make it play better. And that's his changeup. Curveball hasn't been overly impressive.
Only one out in the inning. A double by Wallace Clark. Diego Munoz with a 2-run home run. McKenzie safe on the error. So 3 straight Sooners have reached safely against Nick Dugan. We'll get another payoff pitch to Rocco Garza Gongora. And yet another 3-2 coming. Sooner football team had its annual pro day today over at the Everest Indoor
Did you
Center.
run the 40 today?
Absolutely not.
Did you bench press 225 25 times?
Did not. Three straight foul balls. Some impressive performances over there. Anton Harrison, Sooner offensive tackle, going to get drafted the first couple of rounds. Eric Gray, the running back. Wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. catching some balls for the NFL scouts. Fun to watch all of that. Got the spring football game coming up. Kyler Murray's statue will be unveiled, George. Go alongside Baker Mayfield, 7th Sooner Heisman winner. Hard hit ground ball to the first baseman Graham. And with McKenzie on the move, the only play will be to step on first to retire Rocco Garza Gongora for the second out. John Spikerman will be the batter. He doubled and scored in the third. We'll see how long Dugan goes tonight.
Where is he at pitch-wise? About 60?
75.
My guess is he'll be done after this inning. I think you'll see him go to their bullpen. Maybe. Maybe not.
Longest outing was 4 innings against Cal State Bakersfield. So this would match that if he can get through the 4th. And 1-2 on Spikerman now. Spikerman coming off a season where he batted .317. Really, we talk about...
Yeah, you talk about a lot of this, and you talk about players. What drives me nuts is a pitcher works so hard to get 0-2, then they work harder to get 3-2. I'm like, make a pitch and get them on the ground or a strikeout. Any pitcher. Doesn't matter if it's Stanford, OU, whoever it is. Get to that point, go ahead and make the pitch to end the at bat.
Now you're in a battle with Spikerman.
Well, you got guys running, you got them moving, you get a ball into the gap, you're going to have some run score on you. I mean, it's just a lot of things, negativity can happen quick.
And there's ball 4. The inning continues. Spikerman draws the 2-out walk.
He's trying to steal him. He's pulling everything he can, trying to back into the zone. It ain't working.
Second walk the Sooners have drawn tonight. Bryce Madron gets a crack with runners at first and second and 2 gone. He got hit by pitches last time.
Yeah, time before he hit it deep. Right field, right against the wall. Threw it right into the teeth of the wind.
They appeal to third base. Brandon Meisen says no swing. 2-0 to Madron.
So Madron was the junior college player of the year last year in the country.
Cowley County Community College.
Good player. Good school. Good program.
The Burrows up there.
Uh-huh. I don't think one's coaching now. Still recruit heavily into the state of Oklahoma.
This is turned on and hit deep to right field. Back is Montgomery, and this one is out of here. The Sooners get right back into it. Bryce Madron launches a 3-run blast to straightaway right. You mentioned what he did in his first at-bat, sending Montgomery all the way to the wall in right field. This time he takes it a step further.
Yeah, he takes it a step further, and he hits it out on Jenkins. There was a whole lot going on here, and it's going to be the night for Duke, and he's going to be giving up 7 runs on 6 hits. His club made a couple of errors behind him.
In Oklahoma, able to put now 5 runs on the board in this 4th inning, and a lot of it coming with 2 outs. Madron clubs his 3rd home run of the year, now has 16 runs driven in. So it'll be 4 2/3 innings of work for Nick Dugan tonight before he exits. Stanford going to the bullpen with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Well, following the 3-run home run by Bryce Madron, Stanford forced to go to the bullpen for the senior Max Meyer. And first pitch swinging is the freshman Easton Carmichael. He lifts one to center that's caught by Eddie Park, and the inning is over. But Oklahoma able to get right back into it. A 5-run 4th inning. It's 14-7 Stanford moving to the 5th. Sooners scratching their way back into this one, doing it with the long ball from Bryce Madron. 5 runs in the 4th inning to get back to 14-7. Colton Sudloff back out there to begin this inning.
Crazier things have happened to baseball. Wind's still blowing out strong. Typically at nighttime, it starts to slow down a little bit. It hadn't yet in this ball game. The key is Sudloff's got to shut down. Gave up a run in the last inning. He needs to shut things down here, not allow a run in, and let his offense come back in and whack at him again.
It's been a challenge against the Stanford team tonight. Cardinal clubbing 3 home runs. They've scored in every inning, including a 7-run second. Braden Montgomery is factored in, including a home run back in the 3rd. He's walked twice. He's scored 3 times. 2 balls and a strike now to Montgomery. Eight home runs for Montgomery on the year, leading the Pac-12 in hitting. Hit 18 home runs as a freshman last year, which was a Stanford record. Also made 15 appearances on the mound. There's ball 4. Leadoff walk in the 5th inning to Braden Montgomery. Stanford had an interesting setup last year with Quinn Matthews, who will be the starting pitcher in this series this weekend. Skip Johnson, it looks like, is going to go to the bullpen after the leadoff walk. Malcolm Moore, who's hit a grand slam tonight, set to come to the plate. And the Sooners are going back to the bullpen. We will see Julian Hashem when we return. Pitch of Eldell Mitchell Park, a little dark tonight and misty, although I think it's lightened up a little bit here in the last hour or so.
It has.
Sooners going back to the bullpen for Julian Hashem.
I think the lights got brighter.
Maybe that's what it is. They have, as they say, taken effect. Hashem faces Malcolm Moore.
Another big, long, lanky left-hander. Got to keep everything coordinated together. You know, when I watch him throw a lot of times, I watch his lead arm. And as it comes forward, I like to see a pull down myself. And sometimes he pulls, but he pulls to the right or third base side dugout. And for me, when that happens, right there, when that happens, a lot of time the elbow gets flat. Don't tell me.
Malcolm Moore has just homered for the 2nd time tonight. This is a 2-run shot as Montgomery scores ahead of him, and Stanford takes a 16-7 lead.
You know, I think I'd call timeout if I skip. I'd go out and give him a jar of Vaseline or some sandpaper or something to even this thing out. I mean, ball's getting hit straight up into the air, just flying out of here.
Doesn't have much of a chance. Gets in that jet stream up to left center field in particular, and it leaves in a hurry.
I mean, 2nd home run. I mean, he just got up underneath of it. Now, it's hit hard. Big swing. Don't get me wrong. It's a big swing. But wind didn't stop that at all, did it?
Shot to center field. Spikerman placed this on a hop off the bat of Drew Bowser. And Bowser has his 2nd hit of the ball game. That'll bring in Alberto Rios, who has 2 hits on the night. 15 hits now for the Cardinal. Rios singled and scored in the 2nd, and he doubled in the 3rd. 2 home runs for Malcolm Moore in this game. He's driven in 7. Wallace Clark scoops that one up. He goes to Nicholas for 1, and the Sooners turn a double play. Their 16th of the year. Niftily done, and 2 down.
It's all about footwork, momentum, taking it to the bag.
Jake Sapien, the batter, with the bases empty and 2 gone. Four home runs for Stanford tonight, 35 on the year. They are ahead of the pace of a year ago when they hit 118 as they went all the way to College World Series, joining the Sooners there. 2 home runs for Malcolm Moore in this game. He has 7 for the year and now 25 runs driven in. Sapien's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts and a walk tonight. There's a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs issued to Sapien. That'll get Owen Cobb to the plate. He has tripled, singled, and doubled so far in this game. And he hits a deep drive to straightaway left field. Back to the warning track goes Rocco Garza Gongora. And Jake Sapien scores ahead of Owen Cobb, who has hit for the cycle now. Triple, single, double, and the home run coming. And in 5 innings, the shortstop for the Cardinal has put on a show tonight.
Hit 9th in the lineup. Coming into the game hitting .358. Now with his 3rd home run, he's driven in 19 on the year now. And just not the night for Sooner pitching, folks. That's all I can tell you.
2 walks, 2 home runs, adding up to 4 more runs and an 18-7 Stanford lead in the 5th. And it's back to the top of the order for Eddie Park. Back up the middle, backhanded by Nicholas. Inning is over, but 2 more Stanford home runs, and it's 18-7 Cardinal midway through this one in Norman. Here's a look around the Big 12 this weekend, presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Sooners, the lone team stepping out of conference play. It's all Big 12 for the rest of these teams, beginning tomorrow with those 4 6 o'clock first pitches. Top 25 matchup at O'Brate Stadium in Stillwater between the Longhorns and the Cowboys. Home teams swept all of the Big 12 series last weekend. And Oklahoma State going to lock horns, no pun intended, with the Texas team that's won 15 straight games. They were 4-7. And David Pierce's team now 19-7. Got Texas A&M in the midweek, did the Longhorns. TCU's been hot since the Sooners took 2 of 3 from them, as they've won 6 straight games. And West Virginia has yet to play a conference game. This will be their first weekend conference series. The Mountaineers will be in Manhattan to take on Kansas State. Sebastian Orduño slashes this one foul. He's been on base twice tonight, hit by a pitch, and then scored a run on a base hit by Diego Muñiz in the 2nd. Diego Muñiz 2 for 2 with a home run. He's driven in 3 of the 7 Sooner runs tonight. Max Meyer misses a little too tall to Sebastian Orduño. David Esker talking about this Stanford team and still trying to figure out exactly who fits where. You get to the back end of the bullpen, kind of know who your starters are at this point. Probably say the same thing for Skip and the Sooners, trying to figure out who sits in what seat on the bus, so to speak.
Yeah, but look at last year. You know, Skip basically pitched the last 30 days of the season with 1 reliever, Trevor Michaels.
That's because he got such great starting pitching.
Right, but Trevor could come in and pitch. Trevor could come in and pitch the 7th and 8th, 9th, and win the game, and he had a resilient arm. He could bounce right back and pitch the next day. Mm-hmm. And right now, you don't have a starter, except Cale Davis has maybe gone 6 in 1 start. You know, we're at 13 and 12, 25 games, you're almost halfway through the year now. So, trying to divine roles, trying to decide where guys should be and how it should happen. Looking for that one guy out of the bullpen to come in and just lock horns in the 6th and 7th inning. That's what you're looking for, and it hasn't happened yet. All you do is just keep giving guys opportunities.
And that's what Skip Johnson has said. You just got to run them back out there and hope they will find that confidence more than anything. As you see that called strike 3. And Skip was talking today. He told his guys, I want you to take a picture of a glove, just a baseball glove. Put it up where you brush your teeth, where you look at yourself in the mirror. That's what you need to concentrate on. And he is so good at the simplifying process for these young players. They will get there, but it has to start with that simple relationship.
Well, it's funny because I've said this to kids my whole career. They practice too. If you're a pitcher, the hitters practice. If you're a hitter, pitchers practice. You're not going to go 5 for 5 like you did in T-ball every time. You're not going to get everybody out like you did your first year kid pitch. So you got to expect and be able to deal with failure. And how do I fix that failure going forward? Is it a mental thing I fix? Is it a physical thing that I fix, or is it both? In order to have me be the most successful pitcher I can be on the mound that day. I like attitude a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really do. And I think if you've got that kind of attitude, you got a chance.
Wynn going to help push this one foul.
To win a lot of ball games. If, you know, tonight I'm not getting my butt kicked tonight. There's so many pitchers, when you have failure times, they take the mound with, when they walk a guy, oh no, what's going to happen now? Versus, I'm going to get a double play and get out of the inning. I'm going to get 2 strikeouts, get out of the inning. I got 2 outs, they're not scoring. Not today, boys. Today's my turn. And until you get that type of attitude, there's a lot of kids that have a lot of talent. You know, they throw hard, they run hard, they run fast, they hit home runs, they do all of that. But to put that into a winning formula that you win. And hey, look, all the guys that got drafted, 11 of them last year, all 11 ain't going to play in the big leagues. They're not going to make it. It's just that simple. Kate Horton may not make it. Something may happen. You don't know. It's a funny game. It sure looks like he will, but it's a funny game.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, talking with Jake Bennett, and again, I've worked with him since 7th grade, so he's kind of like a kid to my own kid. But I've been telling him all winter in preparation for the grind. It's a grind. You're getting ready to go play 144 games. All right, in A-ball. If you get bumped to Double-A, you're going to play 154 games. And I said, you're going to call me in August and go, I got 2 more months. and the thing is, you're going to start every 5th day. They may monitor your innings. You got to eat right, sleep right, in order to have that success. And he experienced a little bit of that in spring training when he was throwing every 5th day. You know, it starts. He made 5 starts in spring training. He's been down there since February 1st. You know, didn't get pitched in a game until March 15th. He was there 45 days throwing bullpens and hanging out. So the grind had started.
And it doesn't let up now for about 6 months.
Well, tomorrow they got an 8 a.m. practice for an hour. What are you going to do in an hour? You're going to have ground balls, fly balls, whatever. Then they got a 13-hour drive to Fredericksburg. Get settled into their apartment. Go to the park and work out the 2 days from now. And then Yahoo Magoo, here we go.
Wallace Clark doubled and scored on Diego Muñoz's home run in the 4th.
Good to see Wallace hit the ball with authority down the left field line. Energized it.
Bounced it over the left field wall.
Well, I've seen this guy in high school hit 400-foot home runs. It's in there. Just got to untap it.
What do you know now? Clark, after the walk to Jackson Nicholas.
You better put this in a teacup, pal, because you're going to have a tough time here. He is not going to swing at something out of the zone.
Three balls and a strike to Wallace Clark. Wallace also walked back in the 2nd, so he's been on base twice. Max Meyer, the 2nd pitcher of the night for Stanford. Starter Nick Dugan went 3 2/3 and 3 2. Max Meyer tried to come from all the way back, 3 0. We'll do it all over again.
Thursday night game, we might lose a little bit of our crowd here in a little bit. We got a lot of little league teams here.
We do.
Go to school in the morning.
It was great to see them running past the dugout, slapping high fives with the Sooners before the game.
About 100 of them.
But good news, you can come back out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Absolutely.
4-game series.
6:30, 4 o'clock, and 2 o'clock.
Actually, 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Oh, is it 1 o'clock Sunday?
1 p.m. Swing and a miss.
That's a rarity to see him chase that ball up that high in the zone. Maybe with the wind, maybe what happened his last at bat created some of that.
2 strikeouts in the inning, and Meyer has now retired 3 of the 4 Sooners he has faced since relieving Nick Dupin. He's only given up the walk to Jackson Nicholas, who's down at first with 2 down for Diego Muñiz, who's been the hitting star for the Sooners this evening. RBI single in the second and a 2-run home run in the fourth for Diego. I think that was a good decision by Meyer, the pitcher, not to touch that ball. He lets it go to the shortstop, Cobb, who records the out. And the Sooners are gone in the 5th inning without a run. 18-7 Stanford as we move to the 6th. Here's a look at upcoming Sooner home athletic events presented by Kincaid Coach Lines, the official motor coach carrier of Sooner Athletics. Baseball continues the series. You see the start time, 6:30, 4, and 1 the next 3 days. And then Oklahoma and Oral Roberts and the Sooners at Baylor, the next conference series for
Is that
Skip
Thursday,
Johnson.
Friday, Saturday? Was
Yes,
Easter on Sunday?
That's
correct.
right.
I didn't think we played on Easter.
Now, each of these teams will have that early Thursday start as they jump back into conference play next week. Julian Hashem back out there for the Sooners. 5th Oklahoma pitcher of the night. Tommy Troy is 2 out of 4. 2 singles, drove in a run with a ground ball. Mentioned that Stanford lost basically the spine, you would say, of the defense. Catcher, shortstop, second base, and center field off that College World Series team. And then had a couple of guys beat up earlier in the year, including Tommy Troy. But since he's gotten back, he missed about 6 games. And he's come around 7 of 13 last week in their series win against Utah. And a 4-pitch walk. Well, we saw this with Colt Sunloff to start the 5th. Hashem replaced him after the leadoff walk. Might Hashem get replaced shortly after the leadoff walk?
And looking down at the Sooner bullpen, there is a right-hander throwing. I cannot see who it is.
So Hashem will stay in and face Carter Graham. Graham singled in the first, doubled in the second, walked in the third, and grounded out to second base in the fourth.
Yeah, Skip hunting for a pitch he could throw for a strike. Right now he's called slider, curveball, fastball. None have found the strike zone. 4-pitch walk to the leadoff man. He's behind here 2-0. I don't care where you're pitching, collegiately, high school, professionally. You walk people, it diminishes your opportunities pretty quick.
Sooners have issued 8 walks in the game so far.
How many of those 8 walks have scored?
Ooh. There's a strike.
That's what you always look at that. The walks, yes, solo home runs. Solos don't bother me as much. But when you start looking at walks and you see how many walks come around to score against you, so you said 8 walks, I've counted 2 now, 5 of the 8 scored. Not easy.
So it is back-to-back walks to Troy and Graham to start the 6th.
Skip's seen enough. He's gone down to the bullpen.
And 9 walks issued. Just something that Skip Johnson never has or will stand for.
Well, here's the thing about it. If you skip, there's guys that throw strikes all day in the bullpen and get in a game and it just doesn't happen. That's a mental thing. Right now, the Sooners trail at 18-7 with 2 men on and nobody out. Well, 18-7. They turned it over to Carson Turnquist, who's out of California. Mom, wake up. But it says his hometown's Austin, Texas. See right there? You told me it's from California. Are you messing with me? 6'5", 225-pound right-hander. Trying to work his way through this inning somehow with first and second. Face the lefty coming up. It has not been a fun night for Sooner pitching.
Paso Robles, California.
So where's that located to Stanford?
It's kind of California wine country north
well, it's close.
of Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, northern California is where Stanford is.
Palo Alto.
Uh-huh.
Don't know the exact distance between Palo Alto and Paso Robles.
That's dangerous doing that.
Bouncing ball to first. Orduño will record the out as he beats Montgomery to the bag. And the runners will move up. Troy to third, Graham to second.
Did you ever go into the Winchester Mansion? Have you ever done that?
I've not. Where's that?
So, they started the Winchester Gun Company, and it's in Palo Alto, and it's amazing. It's this giant mansion, and it has a lot of hallways and doors. Short doors.
What took you there?
Parker and Georgia wanted to go.
Nice. Malcolm Moore gets hit by a pitch.
Well, I'm not going to say that's intentional, okay? But when he grounded out to first base, Tommy Troy was stealing third at the time with an 11-run lead in the sixth. That's in old school baseball, that would be looked down upon. But they say, well, the wind blowing out and everything else, it's going to be a crazy game. There's been 25 runs scored and all that. But still, it's tough.
Here is Bowser. 2 for 3 with a double and a run scored tonight. Big hack there.
Good breaking ball right there.
Two and one to Drew Bowser. That'll square things. We'll stay at 2-2. Carson Turnquist is the 6th Sooner pitcher of the night. Kel Davis, the starter, lasted an inning and a third. We saw Brayton Carmichael, Peyton Olenek, Colton Sunloff, Julian Hashem, and now Turnquist. Well, a walk would score the 19th Stanford run. Bases are full on 2 walks and a hit batsman.
As long as they can keep Owen Cobb from coming up with anybody on or anything happening tonight. What a night he's had. Wow.
Cobb is hit for the cycle. Moore, who just got hit by the pitch, has homered twice and driven in 7 runs. He's down at first base. And a bases loaded walk makes it 19-7 Stanford. Tommy Troy crosses the plate. The RBI walk for Bowser is his first run driven in tonight.
Looks like Calhoun's warming up down in the bullpen for the Sooners.
Alberto Rios to the plate. He hit into a double play his last time. He's also singled and doubled. 2 runs driven in for Rios. That 2-run single in the second. Stanford got 7 runs to really break this game open. They've scored in every inning at least 1 run. Two balls and 2 strikes now on Rios. 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup. Rios and then Sapien scheduled next. Third, Wallace Clark. What a beautiful play that was. He slides to third just ahead of the runner. A run is going to score as Graham crosses the plate.
I will tell you, not many third basemen would be able to make a play like that. Very few would be able to make a play and then recover and get to the bag and get the out. Great play, Wallace Clark.
Wallace Clark able to get the second out of the inning. Jake Sapien will be the batter. (20-7) after Graham crosses the plate. 2 runs in the inning without a hit for the Cardinal. Sapien's 0 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. And 0-2 now. Strike 3 called to Sapien. So a strikeout by Turnquist that ends things in the 6th inning, but Stanford able to get 2 more runs and lead it 20-7 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. There's Max Meyer back out for his 2nd full inning of work for the Cardinal. He's pitched an inning and a third, given no hits and no runs to the Sooners. A walk and 2 strikeouts. He's the 2nd Stanford pitcher of the night. Sooners now faced with a 13-run deficit. Stanford getting 2 more runs in the top half of this inning. Anthony McKenzie to try to start something. Anthony's been safe on an error twice by the second baseman Drew Bowser in this game. It's a deep fly ball to left field. Rios is back to the warning track, but he watches this one get out of here. It's gone. High and deep to straightaway left. Anthony McKenzie gets another Sooner home run. 2nd Oklahoma home run of the night. Diego Muñiz hit one in the 4th. And it's 20-8 Stanford.
3rd home run for McKenzie. 20th RBI for McKenzie. Just tells you, I mean, there's power to left, but there's also a lot of wind to left. These balls hit the left field, not to better call him safe. First of all, why even check it?
Yeah.
Just my own personal.
Rocco Garza Gongora, the batter. Rocco's 0 for 3 in this one. One hopper speared nicely there by Bowser. He gets the out at first base. Garza Gongora retired for the first out in the 6th inning. Seven home runs hit between these two teams tonight with the wind blowing on. It's supposed to blow harder tomorrow, George.
Well, thanks, Chad.
Just saying. Here's Spikerman. Doubled and scored back in the third, and then walked in the fourth.
And you know, it's with the wind blowing like this, for pitchers, a lot of times it's into your face. You try to throw the breaking ball through the wind and you jam in the dirt, or it hangs. If you just spin it into the wind and let the wind work it, so you get a lot of break out of it, a lot of movement out of it. But you don't pitch every day in this kind of position or this kind of conditions all the time. So it's always, you know, it's one of those things where you're just thinking, all right, I'm going to go home, take a really hot bath, and wash this one off of me, and get ready for tomorrow's ball game.
That sounds like a plan.
Well, I'm taking a hot bath either way, but
Spikerman drills this one fair, and the first baseman, Graham, collides with the first base umpire over there. It looks like everybody's okay. Spikerman, with those good wheels, slides to third, and he is out there. What a play. Montgomery relays it to Bowser, who guns down Spikerman at third, trying for the triple.
Well, as far as the relay system was here, you couldn't do it any better. Spikerman could not have ran the bases any better. And you're already down, so I don't see any reason not to attempt this. He is out. Attempt this to force the three good plays. You got to force two really good plays in there on your relays and the catch at third base. Why not do it that way?
So Spikerman gets credit for the double, but then it goes 9-4 to 5 on that beautifully done relay throw by the Cardinal. 2 down. Spikerman, 2 doubles in this game, really starting to come around. He's got 9 doubles for the year. Here's Bryce Madron. Shoots this one back up the middle and into center field. So Bryce Madron also a big part of things. He homered back in the fourth and has a base hit here. Easton Carmichael will be the batter. Madron had a 3-run home run back in the fourth inning. So another 2-hit night for him. Easton Carmichael's looking for his first hit of the ballgame. Anthony McKenzie leadoff home run here in the 6th. The Sooners have 3 hits in the inning. 9 in the game. You'll take 8 runs, won't you, George? Most games?
Well, yeah. You score 8, you better win.
Hard hit ground ball that goes off the shoulder of Cobb, and everybody will be safe.
We talked about Stanford's defense coming in. That's Cobb's 8th error. Browser has made 2 tonight. He only had 1 coming into this game.
The Sooners have another threat here. The base hit by Madron, and Carmichael safe on the 3rd Stanford error of the contest. And Sebastian Orduño will get a chance. Orduño hit by pitch and scored a run in the 2nd. Then he singled in the 3rd and struck out in the 5th. Batting .243. High fastball. 1-1. Well hit to left by Orduño. Rios is back, and he will make the catch in fair territory. Down in the left field corner, inning over. Sooners, though, get a solo home run by Anthony McKenzie to get within 20-8 as we move to the 7th. Stanford coming to the plate, leading 20-8. We move to the 7th inning in the first of 4 games between these two College World Series participants of a year ago. Just great to see them get back together on the diamond. Has not happened very often. This is the first time since 1999 at the Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City that these teams played.
It always seemed that when a team like this would come to town, they would play it when I was here at 89er Stadium. When the other teams would come in, it'd be in Oklahoma City, bigger ballpark, hope to draw a bigger crowd. Personally, I like the game being played right here on the campus.
Yeah. I like that you played at ballparks that don't exist anymore. Like
why is that?
89er Stadium. Well, it's just
Montreal,
historic to me.
Toronto.
Yeah, Montreal.
Toronto, Montreal, Busch Stadium.
Well, there's still a Busch Stadium, just not the one that you played.
Not the one I played in.
No.
Yeah.
Owen Cobb has had a night. He has hit for the cycle, tripled in the second, singled in the second as well, and then he doubled in the 4th and homered in the 5th inning. Carson Turnquist back out there for the Sooners. Pitched a scoreless inning for this Sooner lineup after he relieved Hashem. He got all 3 outs without giving up a run, did Turnquist. Gave up a walk and struck out a batter. Three balls and 2 strikes on Owen Cobb. Cobb's home run in the top of the 5th was a 2-1, 2-run shot. Gave Stanford an 18-7 lead at the time. And there is ball 4. Cobb walks for the first time tonight. So he has been on base 5 times. Cardinal rolled the lineup over with Eddie Park, the leadoff batter. He homered back in the 2nd. Park's home run was a 2-run homer. One for 5 in total in this one is Eddie Park, the center fielder, leadoff man. In the air, Wynn's going to carry this one towards Spikerman in center. 1 away. Looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter here for Stanford in the number 2 spot. Batting for Tommy Troy. We'll see Trevor Haskins get an at bat. Tommy Troy had been 2 out of 4 in this game with a couple of singles and a walk, and now Haskins replaces him. And strike 1. The 5th inning of Oklahoma Sooner baseball is brought to you. The 7th inning, I should say, is brought to you by Hal Smith Restaurant Groups. Sooners trying to get out of this 7th inning, hold things where they are. Haskins takes downstairs, and it's 2-1. Haskins, a San Jose, California native. In the air to center, wind blowing it more toward left center. Spikerman chased out to the warning track to pull this one in. So 2 down. Back to first goes Cobb. And Carter Graham will bat. Carter Graham goes 6-2 and 230. There was that base hit by the Sooners down the first base line a few moments ago in the last half inning, and he collided with the first base umpire, Bill McGuire. McGuire did not win that one. Graham singled in the first, doubled in the second. Then he walked in the third and the sixth inning. And he's also grounded out to second base. So 2 hits for him tonight. He has scored 4 runs and driven in a run. Five of the 16 Stanford hits have left the building. Windblown night. And wouldn't be able to go and count how many home runs were aided by the wind. I would say probably all of them a little bit.
Yeah, I think all of them. Maybe the one in left center, all the way by the H or the O in Oklahoma out there is quite a distance from here. It's 400 feet. That one maybe. Not many others.
Swing and a miss. So Carter Graham is out on strikes. A walk and a man left as Turnquist retires the next 3 batters. 7th inning stretch time in Norman. Coming to the plate here, bottom of the 7th inning, trailing Stanford 20-8 in this opener of a 4-game series between these two teams this weekend at L. Mitchell Park in Norman. Max Meyer out to the mound again for Stanford. He's already equaled his longest outing of the year, 2 1/3 innings of relief. McDougan was the starter. He went 3 2/3. Jackson Nicholas will lead things off for the Sooners. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight is Jackson. Meyer's given 3 hits, 1 run earned, with a couple of strikeouts since taking over for Dugan. Fastball touches the outside edge and a ball and 2 strikes. Nicholas, then Wallace Clark and Diego Munoz scheduled for Skip Johnson and the Sooners here in the 7th. Full count to Jackson Nicholas. Ran it past him. Swinging strikeout of Jackson Nicholas for the first out in the 7th.
Same pitch Clark got in his previous at bat, a high fastball after falling or getting ahead 2-0. Meyer able to work it all the way back up, and it got Clark to swing at a high fastball. Wallace trying to rectify that in this at bat after a long double, ground rule double down the left field line a couple of bats ago.
He's also walked tonight.
That swing didn't accomplish anything, but I love the aggressiveness by Wallace. Another one just like it. Like that bat speed coming through the zone.
Wallace Clark had that double and then scored on Diego Muñoz's home run in the fourth. Scalds this one to center field, and Wallace Clark has his second hit. He's swinging it well tonight.
Well, he had 2 hits, 2 for 4 at Kansas State. The other night he was 0 for 3, but he walked twice at Wichita State. Now, things starting to see the ball a little bit better. I think also the scap's feeling better. Had a lower part of that scap was fractured, and it took some time off away from that. Coming back for the swing and the play at third, it appears to me is feeling a whole lot better.
Certainly has been good defensively as well. Muniz sends this one out to left field, and Diego has his 3rd hit, including a home run. The Sooners have runners at first and second and 1 down. They roll the lineup over for Anthony McKenzie. Anthony hit a solo home run his last time up to start the 6th inning. He's been safe on an error twice as well. Well, the bullpen posted a 0 for the Sooners in the top half of this inning.
A couple of zeros. Through the last couple of innings, he hadn't given up any. Did Turnquist give up one?
He did.
Well, the box score's wrong.
But it was in relief in the inning.
It wasn't his run?
It was not his run.
Oh, that's what I thought. He's thrown 2 innings, couple of walks, and 2 strikeouts, no hits, no runs.
So Turnquist has been the guy out of the bullpen for the Sooners tonight.
Carmichael getting pretty serious down there. I think he'll be coming in to pitch the 8th. And folks, I'll be honest, I don't know the run rule. So I don't know if that's agreed upon by the coaches prior to the series. If we get into a situation like this, it may be in effect, it may not. I don't have any idea. There's no Stanford's up 12.
Two and 1 now to Anthony McKenzie. Batting .356 for the year. The home run that he hit earlier was his 3rd of the year, and he's driven in 20. Two and 2 on a 92-mile-per-hour fastball from Max Meyer. Stayed 2-2. Longest outing of the year for Meyer. He had gone 5 2/3 innings all season before this relief effort. We will see a payoff pitch to McKenzie. Runners on base both ways all night long. A lot of traffic out there.
Look like Times Square for 90% of the night. 5 o'clock rush hour. Getting on the turnpike here at 2:35 and 35 to go south to the game at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, good luck.
I've been lucky. Been pretty good. Although the other day I came up Saturday to watch Cooper play at Mount St. Mary's School. They had a wreck coming and a wreck going.
There's ball 4 to McKenzie. Sooners load the bases with 1 out. So we'll see if Meyer is allowed to try to pitch his way out of this. Rocco Garza-Gongora is hitless tonight, 0 for 4. And we will have a mound visit.
Well, he's thrown 53 pitches so far. I mean, in their minds, okay, how far can we go with him? Of course, the Oklahoma banner about their baseball history blocks the view of their bullpen.
We cannot see if anybody's throwing, and certainly not who it is if they are throwing.
That is it.
That will do it for Max Meyer. So Cardinal going to the bullpen for the second time tonight. Sooners have the bases loaded. Meyer's outing his longest of the year. 2 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run so far. He leads with 1 away in the bottom of the 7th inning. Right-hander Ty Huber from Cameron Park, California is on. 6'4", 198 pounds. He'll try to finish things here.
Now, the biggest problem he's had is just walks people. I mean, it's a big arm, it's a good kid, good-looking body. He's pitched in 5 games. He started 9 innings, he's walked 10. Opposition 268 against. He's given up a home run and a couple of doubles. That's it. Out of the 9 hits, so 6 singles given up.
He was both a starter and a reliever last season for Stanford. He was 4-1 as a starting pitcher, 4-0 out of the bullpen. It's pretty good. 8-1. He inherits the bases loaded full of Sooners. Rocco Garza-Gongoro is set to stand in with a big chance. Could make a dent in this 12-run deficit. Wallace Clark and Diego Muñiz both singled, and Anthony McKenzie has drawn a walk to chase the reliever Max Meyer. Huber deals the first pitch low. Strike at the belt. Rocco batting .321. 3 home runs and 14 runs driven in so far. Really like his demeanor. Freshmen are going to have ups and downs, but
that's just part of it.
Seems like he's persevered through those pretty well.
Well, when a coach gives you confidence in your ability to perform every day, that confidence carries with you and how you handle yourself, how you swing the bat, play defense. He's so valuable. He could play center, he could play right, play first.
2-1. Pretty well struck into right center field. Montgomery, though, over toward right center field to make the catch. So he catches the fly ball. Wallace Clark is going to tag and score from third. Sooners get their 9th run on a sacrifice fly by Rocco Garza-Gongoro. Diego Muñiz moves to third as he tags up and advances on the play as well. 2 runs scored now for Wallace Clark on the night.
Got a pinch hitter.
Sooners will pinch hit here. It'll be Cade Fletcher pinch hitting. This is Cade Fletcher's first appearance of the year, George.
Hit a home run. Get it over with.
Why not?
And fans, you know, you say, man, his first one, this has got to be really tough for him. It is tough for him. But in that same respect, they have a lot of inter-squad live PP, and he's a part of that. So it's not like he hadn't seen live pitching since the fall.
Came on to catch in the Wichita State game after Diego Muñiz got hurt, and he gets hit by a pitch. So Cade Fletcher reloads the bases with 2 outs. Bryce Madron, the scheduled hitter. Cade Fletcher is a transfer from Paris Junior College. So he reaches base safely. Beg your pardon, it was not Cade Fletcher who came on to catch. It was Mason Strong who caught the other night. Cade Fletcher getting his first at bat. So here's Madron. He homered in the 4th. trying to homer there.
Didn't miss it by much either. Swung under the ball just a little bit. Short, compact, very strong young man. Hit one to the berm again. Give him another prize out there tomorrow.
Also
Nobody's out there tonight swinging the ball. Yeah, there is too. There's guys sitting under a tree, isn't there? On the other berm. Is there a guy under the tree out there?
I don't know.
You can't see that far?
It's a lonely guy if he's out there under the tree.
Yeah, it is. He's out there under the tree.
Madron, slow bouncer up the first base side. It hits off the glove of the pitcher, Huber, but it was in foul ground, I believe is what the call is from the first base umpire. So we'll have to reset things. And that is the call over there from Bill McGuire. That was turning into quite a circus had that not been called foul.
Malcolm was like, hey guys, quit throwing it around everywhere. It's a foul ball. Everybody go back. Skip's going to ask, because the call is not the first base umpire's call. It's the home plate umpire is responsible. Ooh, I don't know. Was he in fair territory when he grabbed that ball?
That's tough to tell.
Uh-huh. Skip says, hey, go look at it.
We cannot see the plate umpire, John Brammer, on that play. Skip Johnson goes out to ask about it. So Brammer, his call looking down the line from home to first. We saw only Bill McGuire, the first base umpire, and his reaction. So now John Brammer over to give the word back to Skip Johnson. He says, yes, it was a foul ball. We've conferred, and we'll do it all over again. Sooner offense has produced 9 runs and 11 hits tonight.
Should win a ball game. Just pitching had a tough night tonight. That's all you can say about it. It was not a night to have fun if you went to the mound.
That one deflected by Moore. A shot back into center field. That falls for a base hit. The Sooners trying to come back here. Muñiz scores. McKenzie scores. And a 2-run single by Madron after his home run in the 4th inning. And 20-11 is our score. Not done yet.
"31 runs, 27 hits, 4 errors, 12 walks."
And we're only in the 7th.
What am I missing? Have I missed anything? Wild pitches or hit? I know we had 4 or 5 hit bats.
How about 14 men left on base? A lot of traffic out there. And here's Carmichael, 8th batter of the inning for the Sooners. He has a big hack at that one. Madron with a 3-hit night. He's driven in 5, including a home run. So showing you that he's got a little pop in addition to all the walks. Madron came in leading the country in walks. A foul tip went off the bare hand of the catcher Malcolm Moore. Kate Fletcher, the runner, down at third base. He was hit by a pitch. Madron is at first. And it stays 0-2 on Easton Carmichael. Carmichael is 0 for 4. Did reach on an error by the shortstop Cobb earlier. Cardinal do have a new second baseman. We saw Trevor Haskins come in and pinch hit in that last half inning. He's now playing second base. Huber's 1-2 is again hit foul. Three runs on 3 hits here in the inning to close it to a 9-run game. Ground ball to the shortstop, Cobb. He will flip it to the new second baseman, Haskins, and the inning is over. But Sooners get a little bit closer. 20-11 Cardinal heading to the 8th. We've got one lone visitor on the berm out there.
Told you I saw somebody out there.
Trying to stay warm. You were right. Your eyesight far better than mine.
He's got the umbrella.
That is a diehard fan out there. That man deserves season tickets inside the stadium. Well, okay, maybe I'm getting carried away, but that's a diehard guy out there on the berm. It'll be more heavily populated tomorrow, and then as we get to the weekend, the afternoon
Saturday
games.
and Sunday will be great.
Yeah.
The berm might be full out there on Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday pizza day, they'll be there.
We invite you to come out. You catch baseball here. Softball will be playing Texas at Marita Hines Field on Saturday and Sunday. Sold out games. They start their 3-game series in Oklahoma City at the Softball Hall of Fame Stadium tomorrow. Oklahoma and Texas. Top 10 softball clash between the rivals who made it all the way to the championship round of the Women's College World Series. Oklahoma won it over Texas. New Sooner pitcher is Aaron Calhoun. He is the 7th arm utilized by Skip Johnson.
Fastball 88, 91 miles an hour. He's had his tough time so far this year. 12.00 earned run average, covering 8 appearances over 6 innings. The walks have been a bugaboo. 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. 2 home runs given up.
Ups and downs, and that's the case for a lot of the guys.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those deals. You work really hard to get 0-2, and all of a sudden it's 1-2, and just have that confidence. Go attack a hitter with your stuff. They hit it, they hit it. Tom Kelly used to yell, Babe Ruth doesn't play anymore. Throw it over the middle of the plate, see how far they can hit it.
Montgomery officially 1 for 2 at the plate. He's been walked 3 times. He hit a home run in the 3rd. 2-run home run. The Cardinal have hit 5 home runs in this game. And that's a walk. Sooners have hit 3 home runs. Stanford 5. And walks have been a problem for both teams.
Yeah, Oklahoma's 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 walks in the ball game. Stanford has walked 4 in the ball game. Problem is, out of the 10 walks that the Sooners have issued, I think 7 have scored. It's one thing if you control your inning. If you don't control it, then you got problems.
Big swing and a miss for Malcolm Moore, who's had a 7 RBI night. Officially 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, and he's hit 2 home runs. Grand slam in the first, 2-run shot in the 5th, and he drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 2nd. Nubs this one foul. Ball and 2 strikes now. Calhoun records a strikeout of Malcolm Moore for the first out of the 8th. You know, George, it's good to be able to get some confidence in situations like this, fairly low pressure situations where you can just get comfortable.
Well, you hope you don't. Here's one of those things, you know, that's pretty good change it. You hope you don't, when you go out there, you do that. You get strikeouts or outs. You hope you don't let this happen to you.
Bowser clubs one off the wall and straightaway center field. Montgomery had to hold up, and now he's chugging around third base. He will score, and it will be a triple to make it 21-11 Stanford. So Bowser mashes that one to straightaway center field for his third hit of the game. He's got a double, a single, and now this triple, in addition to 2 walks.
A lot of load to the backside, elevated above the belt. Appeared to be a slider. It had a little bit of cut to it. If there's one thing good that came out of that swing and the result of the ball where it hit is it went to center field, because if it was left field, it'd have been over in the apartments with all this wind blowing out to left.
Here's Rios. Rios 2 hits, single and a double. He's driven in 3 runs and scored 2. One down in this 8th inning. Three and 1 to Alberto Rios. "17 hits for Stanford tonight. 10 of them have been extra base hits. They have 2 triples. That's well hit to straightaway center field. Cade Fletcher back there makes the catch. Bowser will tag at third, and he will score the 22nd run of the night. So a sacrifice fly for Rios. It's bases empty and 2 down for Jake Sapien, who's the scheduled hitter, but I think we'll have a pinch hitter for Stanford, and we will. Henry Gargis will be the pinch hitter for Sapien. This is his 13th official at bat. Calhoun giving up a couple of runs here in this inning. Stanford back out to the double-digit lead. Into center field, and that will be a base hit. And it brings Owen Cobb to the plate. He's hit for the cycle plus a walk tonight. That's Owen Cobb. 2 runs on 2 hits in the inning for the Cardinal. Calhoun responds with a strike.
Good slider. It's 81 miles an hour, head velocity. Fastball's been as high as 91 tonight from Calhoun. Hardest we've seen him throw all year. You know, the other day I was here last weekend. Skip was working with him in the bullpen about his front side and how he was trying to pull it down quicker and stay up in the air.
That's a flare out to left that's going to land. The 5th hit of the game for Owen Cobb. And the lineup gets rolled over once again for Stanford. It's going to be the 7th plate appearance for Eddie Park. Park is 1 out of 6 with a home run in this game. It's a 2-run home run he hit all the way back in the top of the 2nd inning. That one squirts away from.
A little bit of class there shown by Stanford because you heard him no. In other words, guys, we got an 11-run lead here. Don't start rubbing it in. That's not the way we play baseball.
Eddie Park's driven in 2, scored a run in this game.
Oh, hey, you can show up to that too.
Calhoun's 1-1 is cut on and missed.
Pretty good right there. That's that split, rolls it over. Reinforce the pressure with your index finger and create that down and away slide pretty good.
Count is all square, 2-2 with 2 outs. That ball came down and hit Eddie Park. And Stanford able to load the bases again. Trevor Haskins, the second baseman, will be the batter. He came on as a pinch hitter for Tommy Troy and flied out to center field in the 7th inning. That one came back, got a piece of Carmichael, the catcher, on the foul ball. Two runs home on a couple of hits. Now a hit batsman and a walk. One and one to count to Haskins. So Calhoun out in front trying to finish this top of the 8th.
Repeat that pitch. Don't try to make it better. I think sometimes he gets caught, makes a really good slider. I'm going to make it even better. And that's when it shoots off, wild pitch off the screen like that. It was a fastball, but I'm going to, and you don't have to. Just repeat what you just did. Outs are a wonderful thing. I don't care how you get them.
Not yet here. It stays 2-2 on Trevor Haskins.
I see the cleaning crew already cleaning up one little section of the stadium. That's kind of what I used to see at Coors Field, and they start getting beat bad at Coors Field. You look up in the upper deck, and the whole cleaning crew would be up there working in the upper deck, so they get out of here and go home.
Getting a little head start.
Yeah, like the 5th inning. There was some bad ones there, Wolf.
Swing and a miss. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Calhoun. Stanford getting 2 more runs and leading 22-11, headed to the bottom of the 8th. One lonely fan out on the berm tonight. He has watched Stanford pound out 22 runs on 19 hits. Oklahoma 11 runs on 12 hits. So it is 33 runs combined on 31 hits. And Ty Huber back out there for the Cardinal as the Sooners come to the plate here in the last of the 8th inning. Sebastian Orduño set to stand in. Major League Baseball season openers happening today. 3 Oklahoma Sooners on big league rosters to start the season, and 6 Stanford Cardinal on those rosters. Exciting for both of these programs to have those alums in the big leagues on this opening day. Sebastian Orduño had a base hit back in the 3rd. He's also walked, struck out, and flied to left. Two and one now. Orduño sends this one to left, and in to make a running grab is Alberto Rios for the first out. Hit hard by Sebastian Orduño. He is the first out in the Sooner 8th. That'll bring Jackson Nicholas to the plate. Jackson 0 for 3 with a walk back in the 5th. Stanford led this game 11-0. Since then, the closest Oklahoma has gotten is 14-7 before the Cardinals started to pull away again. One and one to the Sooner second baseman. Huber is the 3rd pitcher tonight for Stanford. Nick Dugan was the starter. Didn't make it out of the 4th inning, but Max Meyer provided some solid bullpen work. And now it's Huber. They say no swing on the appeal to 3rd base umpire Brandon Meisen. 3-1 to Nicholas. One out walk issued, the second walk that Nicholas has drawn tonight. And it'll get Wallace Clark to the plate. Wallace has had a good night. Been on base 3 times, a double, a single, 2 runs scored. Made a sparkling play down at 3rd base as well. Fielding a ball and then having to slide feet first to the bag at 3rd to beat a base runner trying to advance. Also started a 5-4-3 double play. Did Wallace Clark. One and one the count to the Sooner 3rd baseman. Pulled foul by Clark. It'll stay at 1-2. The day began with rain this afternoon. Teams had to move indoors for pregame warm-ups. Drizzled early in the game, but most of that has stopped. It's kind of a hazy, foggy evening. Wind continues to blow out toward left field. It's been a big factor. 8 home runs hit combined between the two teams. Wallace Clark trying to work his way aboard. Sends this one out toward the center fielder. And Eddie Park able to run it down for the second out. Wallace Clark continues to hit the ball hard tonight, though. And with 2 down, Diego Muñiz will be the batter. Diego, 3 hits, including a home run in this one. Home run came with Wallace Clark aboard in the 4th inning. Diego's driven in 3 total. He's also scored twice. Jackson Nicholas, the runner at first after a 1-out walk to him. Two and 0 to Diego Muñiz. And there is a strike call. So much made of what's happening in the big leagues with the pitch clock, the bases. Marcus Stroman of the Cubs officially today became the first pitcher called for a pitch clock violation. It's kind of a dubious distinction, right?
Yeah. It'll be a trivia question 25 years from now.
Probably so.
And we'll be sitting by the fire, and our grandkids will go, their kids will go, hey, great granddad, who had the first pitch violation? We'll go, Marcus Stroman. How did you know that? Because Chad said it on air in 19.
He also was the winning pitcher, so it didn't bother him.
5-0, right?
4-0 for the Cubs, yeah.
Off to a good start.
That's right. Muñiz lifts this one to left. He's homered once tonight. This will back Rios up near the warning track and end the inning. A walk and a man left for the Sooners in the 8th. 22-11. Stanford on top, moving to the 9th in Norman. As we move to the 9th inning, we will see the 8th Sooner pitcher of the night. It is Gray Thomas. After we saw Carson Turnquist and then Aaron Calhoun as the 6th and 7th guys of the night. But Gray Thomas, the Austin, Texas sophomore, 6'3", 212 pounds. He's transferred from TCU. 7 appearances there last year for the Horned Frogs.
He went to Heritage, right? Is this the guy? Maybe not. There was a guy who went to Heritage Hall when Grant Jobe was there. We went to TCU and he transferred here. Maybe it's not the same guy.
No, I think you're right. Gray Thomas is Oklahoma City Heritage Hall.
Yes.
The graphic was incorrect.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you read what's on the screen and it's not correct, George. But
he might have been born there.
He is in Oklahoma City Heritage Hall.
He might have been born there. We don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah. But, you know, this kid's got a great big arm. 90, 95 miles an hour. To get the command down, he's going to be good for the Sooners.
Carter Graham to lead things off for Stanford.
How would you like to face him and Jobe back-to-back?
No, thank you.
Jobe had a spine injury. He's going to be out for about 4 months.
Mason Strong is now catching for the Sooners. So, second time in as many games, the BYU transfer has gotten behind the plate. Also spent time against Wichita State back there, relieving Diego Muñiz. Man, that came right through, it looked like, and got Mason Strong.
Well, he got mixed up. Mason Strong was looking for another slider, and he got a heater. And he got right on the back of the hand. You know, you're looking for 83, and you get 94. It's kind of an awakening back there. Whether you like it or not, it's not good. Yeah, he did.
No swing, says the first base umpire, Bill McGuire. This is one of those nights. Cardinal now 7 plate appearances for these guys at the top of the lineup, which is good if you've produced. If not, you get an 0 for 6 or a 1 for 7.
That kills you. I mean, it takes forever to build it back up. This time of the year, you know, guys got quite a few at bats. 0 for 1 drops at 5, I think. Get 1 and get it ups at 2. So you don't want many 0 for 7s. It's not good. It's never good.
There's ball 4 inside.
Everybody else saw strike 3, except the home plate umpire. He didn't. He's the one that counts, I guess.
That is right. We're going to see a pinch hitter, it looks like, for Stanford. Sabrin Campbell. So Sabrin Campbell will pinch hit for Braden Montgomery, I should say. Braden Montgomery had homered back in the 3rd inning. Campbell's 15th plate appearance of the year. He is hitless so far.
Don't say that.
1-1 the count. Cardinal have drawn 13 walks. That'll make it 1-2 to Campbell. Montgomery, who's being pinch hit for, had been 1 for 2 officially. A couple of walks. Ray Thomas trying to go right back to that previous location.
Pretty good location, too. It's down and away right on the outer half of the plate. Didn't get a swing on it. Still pretty good. So when you get a 1-2-2-2 count with that slider, and it's got a big move on it, and you're 6'6", 6'7", and you kind of got a low 3/4 arm angle anyway, throw it right at the hitter. Throw it right at him. Let it break across the middle of the plate. If he hits it, he hits it. See? Right there it is.
And a called strike 3 to Campbell. So Sabrin Campbell in a pinch hitting role strikes out for the first out here in the 9th inning. And Court McDonald will be the pinch hitter for Malcolm Moore, the catcher. Malcolm Moore had 2 home runs in this game and a sacrifice fly. So he's pinch hit for. And for Moore, 2 hits and 7 runs batted in with the 2 home runs. Hit a grand slam. Court McDonald, 2nd official plate appearance of the year. 5th game in which he's appeared. He is 0 for 1 at the plate. Count is even at 2-2. McDonald pinch hitting for the man who really got this game started for Stanford. That grand slam of the 1st inning rifled the Cardinal right out of the gate. They would lead 11-0.
thought he had another strikeout.
Did you?
Yeah. Because it's coming from the outer corner to the middle. There's two of them he hadn't gotten. He walked off the back of the mound, turned around and looked, and it's not a strike. That's not a strike.
So Donald works his way aboard with one away. 2 walks in the inning. And the third baseman, Drew Bowser, will be the batter. Bowser started as the second baseman, but with a couple of changes out there, he's now down at third. Skip Johnson is out of the Oklahoma dugout. We'll see if Gray Thomas's night is done. He's the Sooner pitcher. He is. Sooners will go to the bullpen for their 9th arm in 9 innings. We'll step aside for a break with one away in the top of the 9th. A California native is on to face a California team as the junior right-hander Adam Walker out of Woodland, California, through Dodge City Community College, becomes the 9th Sooner pitcher of this one. He'll try to close it out and get the final couple of outs in the 9th inning, George.
Pitched in 4 ball games so far. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He's given up a couple of home runs. He is also, I want to make sure I got the right guy here, has only 1 home run and 1 double.
You got a lot to keep track of with that pitching rotation.
Well, I got the bifocals.
That too, yeah. That can provide a problem.
It's the over 68 rule.
By the way, across the road at the Lloyd Noble Center, the top-ranked defending national champion Sooner women's gymnastics team has advanced to the regional final.
And I'll tell you how Chad knows that. In between innings, it takes a 1.5-minute break, folks. He was over and back. He ran over there, checked it, and ran back.
Lightning fast.
Believe that? I got some water in Florida.
Who was the big leaguer that they used to say he was so fast that he could flip the light switch to off and be in bed before it went dark? Washington
with Oakland? Mickey
Maybe
Rivers?
So. Mickey Rivers, perhaps. Yeah.
Sounds like a Mickey story.
It does. So Stanford continues to send pinch hitters to the plate. This is Jimmy Natty, who will pinch hit for Bowser. Bowser was coming to the plate, but they called him back. He is pinch hitting for Bowser. Bowser had a double and a triple and a single in this game. 3 hits for him.
By the way, a couple of deli trucks here tonight. The food was good. I sampled.
Nadi checks his swing, bounds back to the back screen, and both runners, Graham and McDonald, will move up. Did you go ham sandwich from the deli?
Yeah, a little ham and cheese toasted with chips and Coke. It was perfect. I was over at Noble watching my son's team, Bishop Kelly, was able to beat Choctaw 9-8 in the 9th with a home run. Imagine that, with the wind blowing out. So he plays Duncan tomorrow at 6:30 up here in Noble. Nice little ballpark, nice school, nice park. I was able to sit in my truck right behind home plate and watch the game. That's what I'm talking about.
Hard hit ground ball. Ranging over goes Anthony McKenzie to get the put out at first base. Graham will cross the plate, make it 23-11 Stanford. So Nadi gets an RBI ground out in his pinch hitting role. Two down, and Alberto Rios will bat.
He's had a pretty good night himself. Single, a double. Couple of RBIs. 27 on the year. You said earlier, for all you fans hanging in there, he had 11 RBIs in a game.
He did.
There go, George, you're lying. No, I'm not. Chad told me. I know it's the truth.
Cal State Bakersfield, the Stanford, and tied a Pac-12 record as well. That was back on March the 5th.
See the cleaning guy behind home? He's working.
He is.
Yeah. All right. All you people cannot come back down here and sit.
Yeah, that's
Spit
what happens.
Sunflower seeds and all that. Can't do it.
Some guy decides he wants to sit behind home plate for the bottom of the ninth inning and spit sunflower seeds. Two for 5 night for Rios with 4 runs driven in.
There's the faithful girlfriend bunch. I'm figuring.
Perhaps.
I'm figuring.
Reno on Rios. A 4-pitch walk with 2 outs in the ninth. That's 15 walks drawn by Stanford.
And there's nobody more embarrassed by that than Skip Johnson. As he thinks of himself, and he is a very good pitching coach that you would... Any pitching coach, I don't care, guys in the big leagues, and they walk that many. It drives you crazy. And you'll look to the box scores tomorrow in big league games, you'll see 7, 8, 9 walks. You're going, how's that happen? Whatever it is right now, Skip's going to have one of those conversations that the young man on the mound is not going to like. Or he's going to go down to the bullpen. He's had somebody down there throwing, but I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just going to come out and go, this is not good. They're seeing a part of Skip Johnson they didn't see when he was being recruited. And I experienced these growing pains here at Oklahoma. The first 2 years, I pitched 6 2/3 innings. I was the bullpen catcher for Bob Shirley, Mickey Lashley, Stan Meek, Jackson Todd, all those guys. And you've got to earn your stripes, and the way you earn that is you throw strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a big talent pool, 4 or 5 are going to separate themselves out away from you. You need to be one of those 4 or 5.
And he was talking today about youngsters these days. They hit the reset button quicker than you did in your era. But just because you hit the reset button doesn't mean you have the confidence to go back out there and do what you're supposed to do.
No question. And that's part of it. You can forget about it. I think part of this is, as young players, I got a scholarship to OU. I'm playing OU baseball. I got a uniform. Well, now you want to keep it? You got to play to keep it. And I think that's one of the things kids forget about in this day and age. Funny story is Wallace Clark only had one other Division I offer. He came here, wasn't playing very much, and all of a sudden played against Texas. He played forever and had 4 errors in 57 games, helped him get to the College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never know. But and I've said this to Skip before, and I'll say it on air. If you don't give him a chance to fail, you'll never know. And it's not a 1 chance. It's got to be a 2 or 3 chance, 4 chance, 5 chance. Lack of showing me in a bullpen. When I throw my bullpens with you, you got to show me that I need to put you back out on the mound. And then when you walk across that wide line, you better be ready to show him what you've been working on.
1-2 on Gargis. His second at bat. He takes a called strike 3. So the direct conversation had an effect. A strikeout for Adam Walker to close things out. Sooners down to their final 3 outs as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Stanford on top 23-11. They led this game 11-0 and have just kept the Sooners at arm's length. Continue to pile up the runs, and they will try to close things out. The Cardinal looking to win the first of this 4-game series. Ty Huber is the 3rd pitcher of the game.
Well, I'll say this, and we were talking about this right at the break. There's been 34 runs, 31 hits, 4 errors, 22 walks, 15 by Oklahoma, 2 hit batsmen. They've hit 4. And Stanford has struck out 10 times and yet still scored 23 runs.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk 15 and you give up 19 hits, you don't win games. It's just that simple.
In fact, you can give up more runs than 23 with those kinds of numbers. Got 22 runners left on base tonight combined. Sooners down to their final 3 outs. Anthony McKenzie in the leadoff spot. 1-2 the count. Hit a home run back in the 6th inning. The solo shot that led off the inning. He's also walked and been safe on an error twice in this game.
To think about this, 9 pitchers, right? Sooner pitchers, or 10? What'd you tell me, 9?
9.
Out of 9 of them, only 2 were scoreless. How about that? 2. Turnquist was scoreless. They gave up a run, somebody's run, when he came into the game, but he didn't give up any on his box score.
Right.
And Walker, that was it. Everybody else got tattooed.
Lots of defensive changes out there for
I'm not
the
even writing
Cardinal.
them down. Don't even try to follow it. I know you do, because you're like me. When you're scoring a game, you want the card correct, you want everything correct.
Yeah.
Because mom might be watching, and you mention his name, and she's all excited, and I get that.
Well, these stat monitors make you lazy, though. You don't keep up with it as well as you should, as McKenzie draws the leadoff walk. So you've got Campbell out in left field. McDonald is in right. Nadai came on to pitch hit, is playing third base, and Rios has moved back behind the plate for the Cardinal. Rocco Garza-Gongora will be the batter, with McKenzie drawing the walk. McKenzie's been on base 5 times in this game.
Wind's still blowing out to left.
That it is.
I guess this time at night, most of the time, it starts to calm down a little bit. It didn't calm down at all.
No. It's blowing with a fury today. It may not stop until this time tomorrow.
But no rain. It's forecasted for tomorrow, I don't think. I know Parker, when he left a few minutes ago, my son mentioned Kelly. He just walked out of the booth a little while ago and said that Noble was just starting their game. So they'll play again tomorrow night at 8:30.
That's a long day.
Yeah, that's the best part about it. With golf, you never have a night game.
You do not.
Unless you're at Tulsa at LaFortune Park Par 3 and it's lighted, lighted, you might go there.
Or Top Golf.
I'm not a Top Golf guy. Afraid I'll fall off of it. I just never have been that guy to walk up on the edge and try to swing it.
Strikeout of Rocco Garza-Gongora. 1 away in the night. Same 2 teams tomorrow at the same time, 6:30 Central. Cade Fletcher will get another at bat. He got hit by a pitch in the pinch hitter's role in the 7th inning. Batting for Spikerman. Spikerman had a good night. 2 doubles and a walk before he exited. As we've said all night, you will be happy with 11 runs on 12 hits. Now, won't be happy with 10 runners left on the base paths, as you didn't take complete advantage. But the offense has done plenty for the Sooners tonight. This is a Stanford team. It's the 3rd time this season they've scored 20 runs or more. They hit 118 home runs last year. And they've clubbed 5 here tonight. Their total now for this year is 36. What's that pace? It's going to be more than 118.
It's not good for the opposition, I can tell you that.
David Esker, though, said that's what we are. We know the identity, and that is we're built to be an offensive team, and they have shown it tonight. These 2 teams, you just calculate batting averages in this game. Stanford's hit .442 and Oklahoma .324. Two and 2 here on Cade Fletcher.
You know, pretty young man had a lot of at bats. It's doing a pretty good job of it. He got hit, was down 0-2, chased a couple of sliders, been able to stay off of it now.
Hit hard on one hop, knocked down by Haskins. His only play is going to be to first. The throw there nearly pulls Graham off the bag. That was a rocket by Cade Fletcher. 2 gone as McKenzie moves to second. Bryce Madron, the Sooner batter, homered back in the 4th inning. He's got 3 hits. He's also been hit by a pitch, so he's been on base 4 times. This is his 6th plate appearance. Madron's got the average on the climb. Leading the country in walks coming into this game with 33 of them. Has not walked tonight, though he's been hit by a pitch.
He swung the bat better tonight. A lot more authority with it.
His 3rd home run of the year. Down 0-2. Sooners down to their final strike.
Yeah, he's not going to call that a strike.
Not yet.
No. Catcher looks back. Hey, dude, do you see that scoreboard out there?
Ty Huber, the 3rd pitcher of the night. Nick Dugan started. Then we saw Max Meyer. Now Huber trying to finish the last 2+ innings. Huber with 2 1/3 scoreless innings so far. The most effective guy we've seen all night either way, to be honest.
Another one.
Right center field. McDonald is back. He will dive to the warning track, and he makes the catch to end the game in spectacular fashion. So that fly ball all the way to the warning track gets tracked down. Madron is the final out. We welcome you into the Sooner Baseball postgame show. It is presented by Bud Light, reminding you to please enjoy it responsibly. For Stanford, 23 runs, 19 hits, 3 errors. They left 12 men on the bases. And for the Sooners, 11 runs, 12 hits, 1 error, left 10 men on the base paths. Max Meyer, 2 2/3 innings, but really it was Ty Huber who closed this deal out for the 7th-ranked Cardinal. And Malcolm Moore drives in 7 runs tonight for Stanford. We saw Owen Cobb, the shortstop, hit for the cycle. George, quite honestly, you as a former pitcher, it was not one that would make you very pleased.
No, not pleased at all. Too many walks, too many runs, too many hits, too many bad pitches, too much in behind counts. I mean, just a lot of negativity around this game. Go and take the hot shower, wash it off, because guess what? You got three more with them to prove what you were really all about.
Final stats are presented by Taco Mayo. So Stanford, the number 7 team in the country, takes the first of this 4-game series at Elldale Mitchell Park in Norman. They'll do it all over again tomorrow night at 6:30 Central. For our great Sooner Vision crew hanging in there all night long, our producer Theron Smith and my partner George Frazier, I'm Chad McKee. We will talk to you next time on Sooner Vision from ESPN+.